Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. Today we are continuing the story, What If Naruto Fell in Love with Tsunade Instead of Sakura? This is part 2. If you're enjoying this fanfiction, make sure to smash the like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe with the bell icon so you never miss the next part. Alright, let's begin part 2. Plains outside Kumo. The thunderous sounds of clashes could be heard as two Sannin and their genin companions engaged in a fierce battle in the plains. Tsunade slammed her kunai into Orochimaru's sword. Orochimaru blocked the attack as he slid back for the sheer power of the force that Tsunade packed into her weapon. Still as strong as ever Tsunade, Orochimaru said as he tried to withstand her attack. Tsunade chuckled as she pushed harder against his sword. Of course I am, I don't slack on Orochi, Tsunade said to him. Orochimaru chuckled as he jumped back. Tsunade smiled as she ran back at him with her fist blazing with chakra. Tsunade moved too fast for Orochimaru to see and slammed him in the face. Tsunade sent Orochimaru's body into a nearby tree as she saw his body on the ground. Tsunade chuckled as she saw the body deteriorate into small snakes. Snake clone, Tsunade said as her eyes lit up. Orochimaru appeared behind her as he swung his sword at her neck. Tsunade pivoted her foot and sidestepped Orochimaru, managing to dodge his weapon. Tsunade brought her heel into his side as she launched him into the air. Orochimaru chuckled as he backflipped and landed on his feet. Not bad Tsunade, much better than the last time, Orochimaru said to her. Tsunade smiled as her fist glowed with more chakra. And how can you hit me from that distance? Orochimaru teased. Tsunade sighed. Who said anything about hitting you directly? Tsunade told him. Orochimaru's eyes widened as Tsunade punched the ground. Orochimaru saw a line cross his path in the dirt. Tsunade smiled as she put both hands into the space. Tsunade breathed easily. Okay, let's try it, Tsunade said as she pulled her hands apart as they gripped the earth. Orochimaru gasped as the line that crossed him opened to form a giant gorge in the ground. Orochimaru fell into the gorge as he saw Tsunade smirk at him. Got to act fast, Orochimaru said as he formed a hand sign. Tsunade smiled as she pumped more chakra into her hands. Tsunade pushed herself as she tried to close to the gorge with her hands. Doten. Naiwasu no Ka, Earth Style. Division of the New Earth, Tsunade said as she completely closed the gorge. Tsunade smiled as she saw the plains with no Orochimaru. Okay, how long will it take him to get out of there? Tsunade wondered as waited for her snake friend to resurface. No way that jutsu would be the death of him. It would be nice if it did, but oh well, Tsunade said as she waited. Tsunade's mind wandered to her fiancé. I wonder how Naruto Koi is doing with his dance partner, Tsunade said to herself. Soon the ground shook violently as Tsunade snapped out of her thoughts. It seems I was right. You really don't go down easily. That's right, get back up here so I can kiss more of your snake loving, Tsunade said as she saw a giant snake come out of the ground with Orochimaru on its head. Tsunade smiled. So we are bringing summons into this huh? Well, you will have to wait for me to do that, Tsunade said as she ran at Orochimaru. With Sasuke and Naruto. Sasuke and Naruto were exchanging blows as they skidded away from each other. Both smirked as they looked at the other. Well done, it seems you got better, Sasuke told him. Naruto smirked. Seeing as how I can kiss you now, are you sure you aren't the dove here? Naruto asked. Sasuke's eyes narrowed at the insult. You will always be the done, Naruto. You can't beat me, Sasuke said to him. Naruto laughed at his insult. It all depends on how you view the world. You see, from the world's view you will always be the strongest between us, but you and I know the truth. You know I can beat you, Naruto said to him. Sasuke gritted his teeth. Then prove it done, he said as he charged Naruto. Naruto sighed as he took out his kunai again. Naruto produced a strong current of wind chakra through the blade as the sharpness increased. Both clashed their weapons as they stared in each other's eyes. Both Sasuke struggled for supremacy, but was overcome by Naruto's strength. Naruto pushed Sasuke off his blade as he kicked Sasuke back. Sasuke gripped his stomach as he felt the power in Naruto's kick. Damn you done, Sasuke shouted in his thoughts. Sasuke did his hand signs as he opened his mouth. Kaiten, Hosenka no Jutsu, Sasuke said as he shot multiple fire bullets at Naruto. Naruto ran at the bullets as he tried to dodge each one. Naruto soon closed the gap between him and Sasuke. Naruto smiled. Futen, Noshuku sa Retakaze no Saraisu, wind style. Concentrated wind slice, Naruto said as he swung his kunai at Sasuke. Sasuke managed to dodge the blow as he ducked under the blade. Sasuke felt a burst of wind pass him as Naruto flipped back. Sasuke smiled. What kind of jutsu is that done? Sasuke asked with a grin. Naruto shook his head in disappointment. He pointed past Sasuke. Sasuke turned around as his eyes widened. Sasuke saw all the trees, and even a large piece of the mountain behind them like they had been cut through like they were nothing. Sasuke gasped as he realized he could have died from the jutsu if he didn't duck. However, his pride wouldn't allow him to say that. HMPH, the dove just got lucky, Sasuke said as he writhed in pain. He turned around to see Naruto kick him into the air. Naruto smiled. Stay focused on the fight, Sasuke, Naruto said as he disappeared. Sasuke glanced to his right and left, but didn't see Naruto. He suddenly looked up to see Naruto high in the air. Naruto came down with his kunai blazing with wind chakra. Futen, Kazenokami no Ha, wind style. Blade of the wind god, Naruto said as he brought his kunai down. Sasuke twisted his body as he barely dodged the blade of wind as Naruto crashed into the ground as dust hit his presence. Sasuke landed away from Naruto as he activated his Sharingan. Now I can follow the Dobi's movements and copy his jutsu, Sasuke said as he waited for the dust to settle. As the dust vanished, Sasuke looked to see that Naruto was gone and only a giant line was formed from his last attack. Sasuke looked around quickly. Damn, where is he? Sasuke wondered. Sasuke felt a slash across his body as he saw blood drip from his shoulder. Blood. Sasuke wondered as he got another cut. Sasuke looked around, but didn't see anything in the field. Sasuke moved his eyes around faster to find Naruto, but couldn't. Sasuke felt another cut hit his body as he saw white streaks of light pass him. What jutsu is this? Sasuke wondered. Naruto smiled. This is one of my original jutsu, Naruto said to him. As he appeared in front of Sasuke, Sasuke jumped back and threw a kunai at Naruto. Naruto smiled as he disappeared before the kunai hit the mark. Naruto smiled as he passed Sasuke's body again as he gave him another cut. Sasuke cursed at his inability to follow Naruto's movements. Don't worry, Sasuke, even with your Sharingan you can't follow this. Let's just say I am as still as the air you breathe, Naruto said to him. Sasuke continued to look around, but still couldn't find Naruto. Naruto smiled as he added more chakra to his feet. Naruto disappeared as he cut Sasuke again and disappeared, but he soon came back with another cut and one after that. The time he took to get Sasuke was shortening as he continued his assault. Sasuke's body was covered in cut marks as his eyes flared up in anger. Enough, Sasuke yelled as lightning coursed through his body. Soon the lighting cackled all over his body. Chidori Nagashi, Sasuke said as his lighting cackled around his open space. Naruto smiled. You seem to forget that wind is strong against lightning, not that it matters now, Naruto said as he charged Sasuke one more time. Futen, Shizukana K's no Sarashu, wind style. Slash of silent wind, Naruto said as passed Sasuke's lighting current and delivered a final slash of wind to Sasuke's side. Sasuke fell to the ground in pain as he gripped his side. He felt some of his blood seep out of his side as it stained the grass. Still wanna continue, Sasuke? Naruto asked. Sasuke clutched the group. I will kill you, to die by you is not my destiny, the fact that my blood was spilled by you is appalling. I will kill you, Dobi, Sasuke yelled in his thoughts. Soon his curse mark enveloped his body. Sasuke's skin turned dark, his hair grew longer, and out his back came his wings. Naruto smiled. So finally using the curse mark? Naruto asked. Sasuke grinned. You stand no chance against me now, Sasuke said to him. I am still more special than you, Sasuke told him. Naruto smiled as he entered his thoughts. Say Hina-chan, may I have some of your chakra? Naruto asked his Biju. Hina sat in the field of flowers as she smiled. Why yes Naru-kun, have some and kick the emos, Hina said to him. Naruto nodded. Thank you Hina-chan, Naruto said as his Kyuubi coat formed around him. The coat covered Naruto's body as his eyes turned to slits, his whiskers became more visible and his teeth became more sharp. Soon a tail of red chakra swayed behind him. Well Sasuke, back where we started, only this time, you are getting kicked, Naruto told him. Sasuke grinned. Bring it done, Sasuke said to him. Both charged the other as the Khalid causing a big explosion. With Tsunade and Orochimaru. Both Sannin were breathing quite hard as they both had the cuts and bruises to be a little tired. Orochimaru smiled as he looked at Tsunade huffing a little. Getting tired, Tsunade? Orochimaru asked. Tsunade smiled, as she channeled chakra to her feet and sped in front of him. Not in the least, I don't know about you, but I feel like I could conquer the world right now, Tsunade said as she punched Orochimaru in the face, sending him into a nearby tree. Orochimaru gasped as he landed off the tree. How can she have so much power after so much fighting? I am almost at my limit, and yet she doesn't even look winded, Orochimaru said to himself. Tsunade instantly appeared in front of Orochimaru and smiled. If you're wondering why I am not tired like you, it is because of my jutsu here, it also minimizes fatigue. Oh, isn't medical ninjutsu fascinating? Tsunade said as she brushed her hand through her blonde hair. Orochimaru seethed. I guess we take this to the big league, Orochimaru said as he bit his thumb. Tsunade smiled as she backed up and she also bit her thumb. With Naruto and Sasuke, both were downright even as Sasuke's futile attempts at hitting Naruto ended in his despair. Naruto smiled as he knew he was still holding back. Sasuke decided to take this fight further. Time to use it, he said to himself as he bit his thumb. Naruto smiled as he saw what Sasuke did. Oh, we're taking it, there, huss Sasuke, Naruto said as he bit his thumb. All the people bit their thumbs and placed them on the ground and yelled. Kuchio's no jutsu, they all yelled as smoke enveloped the entire area. Orochimaru stood on Manda. Tsunade stood on Katsuyu. Naruto stood on Gamabunta and Sasuke stood on a hawk named Karaki. Tsunade turned to see Naruto on Gamabunta. She yelled for him. Oh Naruto koi, you thought about the summoning jutsu also, Tsunade yelled. Naruto chuckled. Great minds think alike, Naruto told her. Both smiled as they turned back to their respective fights. Now Orochimaru, Tsunade said. Now Sasuke, Naruto said. Both faces lit up as they charged them. Prepare to have your hand to you, they both said. Tsunade smiled. Katsuyu, let's get started, Tsunade told her. Yes Tsunade-sama, Katsuyu answered. Tsunade jumped off Katsuyu and got started. Meanwhile Orochimaru was speaking with his summon. What is it now, Orochimaru? Manda asked. Orochimaru smiled. I would like you to deal with a troublesome Sannin, Orochimaru said pointing at Tsunade. Manda sighed. Her again? He asked. Orochimaru nodded. Manda sighed again. You owe me 10,000 human sacrifices this time, Manda ordered. Orochimaru nodded. Time to get started, Manda said to Orochimaru. Orochimaru began. Tsunade began. Manda. Katsuyu. Manda Daibunritsu, Snake Great Division. Katsuyu Daibunritsu, Slug Great Division. They both yelled as their summons did as they wanted. Both digressed into smaller clones of themselves and shot themselves forward at the other. Soon they both collided in a battle for supremacy as they pushed each other in a clash. Katsuyu managed to overpower Manda as she slammed into him, covering him in her smaller clones. Manda swayed as he managed to shake her off him. HMPH, still the little firecracker Katsuyu? Manda asked. I will serve my summoner, you won't beat me, Manda, Katsuyu answered. Tsunade smiled. Nicely said to Katsuyu, now let's continue, Tsunade said to her. Katsuyu nodded. Manda shot forward at an attempt to get Tsunade. Tsunade smirked. Zeshi Nensen, acid slime, Tsunade called out. Katsuyu nodded as she brought her head back and unleashed a ball of acidic slime at Manda. Manda easily swayed around it and continued at full speed towards Tsunade. Tsunade was about to attack when a voice called out to her. "Haim, get back," said the voice. Tsunade backflips as she sees Naruto land in front of her with Gamabunta. Tsunade smiled. "My prince is here," Tsunade said to herself. Tsunade looked over to where Naruto previously was to see an unconscious Sasuke on the ground. Tsunade chuckled at the sight. She turned back to see Naruto do some hand signs. "Gamabunta gives me a lot of water," Naruto told him. Gamabunta nodded. "Right, Gaki," he said as he filled his stomach with water. Naruto smiled as he finished his hand signs. Before Gamabunta shot his water out, Naruto said his jutsu. "Futen. Kei's no Atsuryoku, wind style. Wind pressure blast," Naruto yelled as he blew fierce wind from his mouth as it collided with Bunta's water. The wind cooled the water as it turned to ice. The ice shot forward as it hit Manda and sent him flying into the plains with a loud crash. Naruto smiled as he looked at Tsunade. "You alright, Haim?" he asked. Tsunade smiled. "Just peachy Fox-sama," Tsunade said to him. Naruto nodded as he turned back to Manda and Orochimaru. Manda was freezing as his body was covered in ice. Orochimaru cursed. "Damn it, that brat knew Manda is a reptile and reptiles don't do well against the cold," Orochimaru said. Manda cursed also. "D-damn G Gaki, Orochimaru, you're on your own, I need to get some heat back," Manda said as he vanished. Orochimaru seethed. "To think these two would be so much trouble. I have to go, I am low on chakra. Oh well, I found a more suitable body than the Uchiha," Orochimaru said as he vanished. Naruto sighed as he saw Orochimaru leave. "Gamabunta, you can go back, thank you," Naruto told him. Gamabunta nodded. "Sure kid, I had fun," he said as he left. Katsuyu left also. Tsunade walked up to Naruto. "Thanks for saving Naruto Koi," Tsunade said as she gave him a quick kiss. Naruto blushed. "All in a day's work home, now let's get out of the arrogant captive Iwa," Naruto said to her. Tsunade nodded. Both went to get the unconscious Uchiha as they tied him up and put a chakra restriction seal on him. Naruto and Tsunade walked off. "You know, I heard Orochimaru, apparently my body is more interesting than Sasuke's," Naruto said to her. Tsunade laughed. "I would like to see him try and take it, that body is mine," Tsunade said to him. Naruto nodded as they two ran back to Iwa. Wouldn't have it any other way home, Naruto thought to himself. Border of Kumo. Naruto and Tsunade were running back to Iwa with an unconscious Uchiha over Naruto's back. As they ran through the trees, Naruto decided to start a conversation. "So Haim, what are you going to do when we get back?" he asked. Tsunade turned to him and smiled. "I am planning to take a nice long soak with my Fox-sama," Tsunade told him. Naruto blushed as they rushed through the foliage. "I think he would like that a lot," he said with a smile. Tsunade nodded her head. "I was hoping he would," Tsunade said to him. Naruto looked back to look at Sasuke's face. "It feels ironic. If I was still in Konoha, I would be so happy to know I have him now, but I feel happy to take him to Iwa," Naruto said to her. Tsunade nodded. To her it seemed that ever since they left Konoha, Naruto had been much more cheery. He was able to express himself more than ever. Tsunade always smiled when she looked to see his heartwarming smiles. As they passed the borderline of Kumo and entered Iwa territory, both soon began to pick up the pace. As they ran through the trees, Naruto felt a nudge on his back. He turned to see his former friend waking up. "Oh, so the emo king graces us with his presence," Naruto said. Tsunade laughed at the joke as Sasuke checked his surroundings. "Shut up, done. I took it, I got caught?" Sasuke asked. Tsunade face-palmed herself. "No, Naruto is just carrying you because he misses you so much," Tsunade said sarcastically. Sasuke muttered something about, "damn blondes," that made Tsunade form a tick mark on her head. "What was that, Sasuke?" Tsunade asked as she lifted a finger and destroyed a tree with it. Sasuke's eyes widened as he felt regret for insulting a Sannin. Nothing sorry, he said to them. Tsunade smiled as she put her hand down. Sasuke squirmed a little, but couldn't get free. He looked to his hands tied up and a chakra restriction seal on his body. Sasuke sighed as he looked up at Naruto's headband. Sasuke grew a confused look. Yano, now that we can talk, can I ask why you are wearing an Iwa headband anyway? Sasuke asked. Naruto and Tsunade looked at each other and smiled. Well, you see, it went like this, Naruto said as he told Sasuke the thrilling story. He told Sasuke about how he was hated for not bringing him back. How he resigned as a Konoha shinobi. How he and Tsunade felt the village and everything else leading up to this point. Sasuke's mouth hung for a while. Damn done, you really got the short end of the stick, Sasuke said with a smirk. Naruto laughed. Yeah, maybe, but I have no regrets. I have a wonderful fiancé because of that day, Naruto said to him, then turned to Tsunade. Tsunade blushed, then added a smile to the mix. Tsunade turned to him. Thank you for the kind words, Naruto-koi, Tsunade told him. Sasuke looked to his right to see the blonde woman. Do I even want to know? He asked. Naruto smiled. That all depends on you, he said as they all arrived at the gates of Iwa. Both gave the guards their identification and went into the village. As the two walked through the village, they saw people staring at them with smiles on their faces. Why is everyone staring at us? Naruto asked. Tsunade shrugged her shoulders. Got me, she said to him. Both walked to the Tsuchikage mansion as they went to report the mission. Sasuke, though tied up, marveled at the structure of the village. Everything looked so different from Konoha. As everyone entered the building, Naruto dropped Sasuke on the floor in front of Onoki. Here you go, Oji-san, one Uchiha holds the Orochimaru, Naruto said, sounding like he was placing an order. Onoki showed a rare laugh at Naruto's antics as he nodded. Nice job, Tsunade. Naruto, you will be paid for your mission, now what to do with this one, Onoki wondered. Sasuke waited in anticipation of his sentence as everyone thought. Naruto smiled as he looked at a nervous Sasuke. Say, Oji-san, do you know what the CRA is? Naruto asked. Onoki shook his head. Tsunade looked at Naruto and smiled. Oh Naruto, isn't that a little harsh for the Uchiha? Tsunade asked. Naruto nodded. I am not sure, but I don't think so, Naruto told her. Tsunade laughed as Onoki looked at them. So what is the CRA? He was interested in what Naruto had to say. Naruto stopped laughing and looked at Onoki. It is similar to what you tried to do with me in the engagement. It requires a man to take multiple wives so that they can mother the man's children and restore the clan, Naruto told Onoki. Onoki's face lit up in anticipation of having the Uchiha clan in his village. Sasuke looked at the three smiling faces. Do I get a say in this? He asked. No, they yelled. Sasuke comically cried at the thought of being with too many girls. Onoki nodded. All right, I will enact that on the Uchiha, but where will he live? Onoki asked. Naruto sighed. Well, he isn't going anywhere with that chakra restriction seal I have on him, so I guess he can live with us, Naruto said to Onoki. Onoki nodded as Naruto untied Sasuke ropes and Sasuke stood up. Everyone walked out the door, but Sasuke brought them back. Can I at least choose who I date? He asked. Everyone looked at each other and thought for a while. Soon everyone nodded at each other and smiled. Very well, Sasuke, you can choose, but you must have at least one girl by 2 weeks, Onoki told him. Sasuke sighed, but nodded. All I want is to train to beat my brother, but now I have to date also. Sasuke thought as he walked out. Naruto and Tsunade followed suit. They weren't sure how anyone at home was going to take the news of Sasuke being back. As they roamed the village, Sasuke took the moment to look around. So what is the training like here? He asked. Naruto sighed. Always training with you, oh well, that is one of the things I am glad didn't change about you, Naruto thought. Tsunade decided to answer. That training here is a lot more intense than Konoha's. It's no wonder we didn't want to go to war with them, Tsunade said to a smiling Uchiha. This might be fun, Sasuke thought. Tsunade sighed as she heard Uchiha's comment. I can only wonder what is going to happen in the next few days, Tsunade thought as the group of 3 came up to the house. Naruto opened the door as he looked inside. We're home, he yelled. Soon some people poked their heads out of a few rooms. Kiba smiled as he looked out. Welcome home Naruto, Tsunade, and, Kiba's eyes widened as he looked at a raven-haired boy wearing the Sound Ninja Force uniform. Sasuke, Kiba yelled. He ran up to the Uchiha as he took a whiff. Yep, it's the real thing, Kiba said as he ran through the house. Everyone, they are back and we have an unexpected guest, Kiba yelled. Soon grumbling people made their presence known. You don't have to yell Kiba, Shikamaru said with a yawn. He was soon followed by Temari, Gaara, Hinata, and Ino. As everyone came into the room everyone said their hellos to Naruto and Tsunade. So who is that guest that we have? Gaara asked. Naruto smiled. Presenting the traitor of Konoha, the king of emos, the pinnacle of seriousness. Sasuke Uchiha, Naruto yelled. Sasuke walked in making everyone widen their eyes. Sasuke grew a vein at Naruto's introduction. I am not an emo, Sasuke yelled. Naruto smiled. Could have fooled me, Naruto said to him. Sasuke's eyes narrowed. Dobi, Sasuke said in a serious tone. Naruto smiled. Come on Sasuke, you want a repeat of last time? Naruto asked him. Sasuke's face turned red from embarrassment as he looked away in shame. Naruto smiled. I thought so, Naruto told him. Everyone was still confused, so Tsunade decided to elaborate. She told them all about the mission and the details of the fight with Orochimaru and Sasuke. Soon she looked around to see some people missing. Hey, where is everyone else? Tsunade asked. Temari decided to answer. Neji, Lee, and Tenten are on a mission with Jiraiya. Shizune is at Iwa's hospital. Choji, Kankuro, and Shino are eating out then training, Temari explained. Tsunade nodded as she understood. Soon she took off her gear and laid on the couch. Man, I am tired, Tsunade said to them. Everyone laughed as they saw her lazy nature. Naruto took off his clothes also. He had a twinkle in his eye as he walked over to Tsunade. Naruto smiled as he gently picked up Tsunade and carried her out of the room. Naruto winked at everyone as he left. Everyone's sweat dropped as they saw him leave. Sasuke decided to speak. So is that official? He asked them. Everyone looked at him and nodded. Yes. Yes it is, Gaara told him. Sasuke sighed as he decided to go to sleep. Naruto took Tsunade into the room and laid her on the futon. Naruto tucked her in as he kissed her cheek. Sleep well Heim, Naruto said as he turned to leave. He was suddenly stopped by a hand on his arm and suddenly fell on top of his fiancée. You can't leave. Fighting Orochi gave me lots of stress. Won't you help me Fox-sama? Tsunade asked in a sexy voice. Naruto stuttered to respond, but couldn't. He smiled as he nodded. He kissed his fiancée as he laid her back on the bed. Naruto laid Tsunade back on the bed and planted a kiss on her soft lips. Tsunade shuddered at the feeling of being dominated so early in the session. Naruto smiled as she heard his fiancée's enticing moans of pleasure. Naruto invaded Tsunade's mouth with his tongue as he brought it to her throat. Tsunade felt the pleasure as she felt Naruto's hand move up and massage her ass. Naruto gently placed one of his fingers on her nipples as he gently rubbed it in a circular motion. Tsunade broke the kiss between them to let out a passionate moan that seemed to ignite her soul. Naruto smiled as he saw Tsunade place a hand to her mouth to try and control the noise. Naruto continued to smile as he removed her hand and looked at her. Don't cover up your voice, I want to hear you moan from my touch, Naruto told her. Tsunade blushed as she continued to moan from the feeling of Naruto over her body. Naruto soon went down to her nipples as Tsunade twisted and turned from the wetness of his tongue. Oh Naruto-koi, it feels so good, I love your touch, I love it all, Tsunade managed to say. Naruto smiled as he stopped her tits to comment. I am glad that you do, Naruto told her as he took his hand and brought it down her body, making her moan from the feeling. Soon his hand came to her panties. Naruto chuckled as he gently took them off and laid them on the side of the futon. His hand soon wormed its way back to its previous destination. He then gently rubbed her sweet spot as he continued to play with her s. Tsunade's face was flushed from all the pleasure she was feeling. Naruto soon brought his head down her body as his tongue swayed past the most sensitive areas of her body. As came down between her legs, he slowly licked her clit as Tsunade bursted out in a loud moan. "Oh Naruto-koi, right there, I love this feeling," Tsunade yelled, alerting the whole house to their presence. Naruto smiled. No use keeping it quiet now, Naruto thought. He suddenly felt a strong sense to please her and buried his entire head into her swollen spot as he pushed his tongue in and around her sweet walls. Naruto brought up one hand as he put in 2 fingers along with his tongue. Tsunade gasped as she arched back in a moan. Tsunade was feeling overstimulated as she felt the warm liquid of Naruto's mouth enter her body. Tsunade suddenly grabbed Naruto's head and tried to push him in further as she released her pleasure. "Oh Naruto-koi," Tsunade yelled. Naruto gladly accepted his drink as he swallowed all of the fluid, making Tsunade blush. "That was very nice, Hime. Now to drive you crazy," Naruto said as he formed a hand sign. "Kage Bunshin no Jutsu," he yelled as smoke covered his body. Soon there were 3 Narutos, all with smiling faces. Tsunade smiled as she got up to see the 3 meat sticks in her face. Tsunade chuckled as she grabbed 2 of them and the other one. All the Narutos groaned at the feeling of her touch. Tsunade managed to deep-throat the middle Naruto as he twitched from the sudden action. Tsunade also gently rubbed the 2 as his soft hands glided along their members. Tsunade smiled as she felt their twitch in her hands and mouth. "I can't wait for my drink," Tsunade said in her thoughts as she rubbed them all faster. All of them groaned as they released all over her body. Tsunade opened her mouth as their sweet liquid sprayed over her body. Tsunade smiled as she wiped herself off and drank the drink that Naruto gave her. Thick and sweet," Tsunade told him. Naruto blushed heavily as he laid her back down. "Well, now it's your turn," Naruto told her. Tsunade smiled as she looked around. She came up and whispered in Naruto's ear. Naruto looked at her. "Are you sure?" he asked. Tsunade nodded. "I only need my Naruto, I don't need you from others for my pleasure. I receive all my pleasure just from being with you. I only want Naruto-koi," Tsunade said sweetly. Naruto looked at her for a minute then smiled. He leaned close to her and gave her a deep kiss. Tsunade lovingly returned the kiss as they broke. Naruto dispelled his 2 clones and turned to Tsunade. "You know that I won't be nearly as exhausted now," Naruto told her. Tsunade smiled as she hugged her blonde and whispered in his ear. "That is what your fiancé wants," she cooed to him. Naruto smiled as he pushed his thickness inside her swollen spot. Tsunade screamed as she felt the sudden surge in pleasure. Naruto began to move rapidly and he felt the sweet walls of Tsunade's pussy around his dick. Naruto could feel Tsunade tighten around him as he continued to move. Tsunade unconsciously began to move her hips to match Naruto's thrusts. Naruto smiled as he kissed his blonde hair as he continued his thrusts. Tsunade felt her senses fade as she was overcome by all the pleasure she felt from him. Naruto could feel she was getting close as he felt his hardness being tightened again. Tsunade felt Naruto's member hardened also as she was ready to receive his love. "Naruto-koi, fill me up, I want your love inside," Tsunade told him. Naruto nodded as he made a few final thrusts and released inside Tsunade. "Hime," he yelled. "Naruto-koi," she yelled. Both released their love as they fell back to the futon. Naruto smiled as he laid next to Tsunade. Tsunade turned to him and smiled. "You know I can't be satisfied with just that," she told him. Naruto sighed as he got back up. "It's a good thing you have a stamina freak then," Naruto told her. Tsunade chuckled as she pulled Naruto back down for another session. "And I am so very glad that I do," she told him. Their screams filled the house again as everyone in the room was either knocked out from the noise or trying to tune it out. 3 hours later, Naruto and Tsunade left the room in a good mood as they entered the living room. They smiled as they saw the scattered remains of their friends' souls on the ground. They laughed as they sat on the couch waiting for everyone to wake up. 20 minutes later, everyone was starting to get up as they looked at the smiling pair. "You know what, you are both too troublesome," Shikamaru said to them. "Now Shika, no need to get heated," Naruto told him. Shikamaru sighed as he left the room. As soon as everyone tried to go about their business, Jiraiya came through the door in a hurry. "Everyone to the Tsuchikage's mansion, he has something he wants to tell us," Jiraiya said as he left. Everyone sighed as they got up and went to the mansion. Tsuchikage Mansion. Everyone filled the office as they waited for Onoki to give them his message. Onoki sighed as he looked at them. He didn't know if this news would be good or bad, but he had to tell them. "Everyone, I have called you here because this really concerns you all," Onoki told them. Everyone calmed down so they could hear. Neji decided to talk. "What is Tsuchikage-sama?" he asked. Onoki took a deep breath as he looked at them. "I have come to report that as of today, we are going to war with Konoha," Onoki told them. Tsuchikage Mansion. Everyone stood in shock as they tried to fathom what Onoki just told them. He just told them that Iwa was at war with Konoha. To say everyone was shocked was an understatement. "Tsuchikage-sama, is this a joke?" Tenten asked him. Onoki put his head down and shook his head. "No, it isn't, Tenten-san, we are going to war with Konoha," Onoki told them. Tsunade snapped out of her daze and looked at Onoki. "But why?" she asked him. Onoki sighed. "It seems that Konoha has been raising some of the countries near the Iowa border and I can't allow this insolence to continue," Onoki said to them with a serious voice. Everyone dropped their heads as they looked at the ground. Onoki could see it would be painful for them to fight their own village, but he had to tell them for their own good. Naruto looked up to see everyone's doubt and sorrow. "Hey Gigi," Naruto said to him. Onoki turned to Naruto as did everyone else. "Yes Naruto-san," he asked. Naruto breathed. "Can we bring back people we consider to be good people?" Naruto asked him. Onoki pondered his question. Everyone smiled as they saw where Naruto was going with his question. Tsunade had to smile at her fiancé's thoughts. "That is why I love you Naruto-koi," Tsunade said in her thoughts. Jiraiya mentally laughed at his pupil's nice personality. "Only you would think about saving people in a war," Jiraiya said in his thoughts. Onoki smiled. "Very well, if you can convince people to leave Konoha and reside here I will let them," Onoki said to him. Naruto smiled and nodded. "Thank you Gigi," Naruto said as the group walked out the room. Because of Naruto the mood was a bit better for everyone. As they all walked outside, everyone went back to the house. "So we are really going to fight Konoha?" Ino asked with the fear of facing her family. Tsunade nodded. "I don't think Onoki would lie about this, I wonder why though." Tsunade said to the group. Everyone thought about it also. What reason would Konoha have to go to war with Iwa? Suddenly it hit Shikamaru. "You think it has to do with Danzo being Hokage?" he asked. Tsunade's eyes lit up. "Oh, that explains it, that old war horse will look for any reason to go to war if he knew he could win," Tsunade said to them. Everyone nodded as they entered the compound to see Sasuke on the mat sleeping. "Is he joining us also?" Hinata asked. Tsunade sighed. "I don't know, but I presume he might," she answered. Everyone nodded as they decided to go about their day. As everyone lounges around the house, Naruto decides to go outside and train. "Well, if we are going to fight Konoha I might as well sharpen my skills," Naruto said to himself. Soon he walked to the training area as he saw two people fighting. Naruto stopped to admire the fighting as he smiled. Even Hina had something to say. "Wow, numbers 4 and 5 are here," Hina said in the field. Naruto curled an eyebrow. 4 and 5? He asked. Hina laughed. "The Yonbi and Gobi," Hina told Naruto. Naruto gasped at what she said to him. "You're telling me they are Jinchuriki also?" he asked. Hina mentally nodded. "That's right Naruto-kun, they were always a handful when we were kids," Hina told him. Naruto smiled as he went down to the training area. Soon both combatants were alerted to the presence of another Biju thanks to their own. "Hey idiot, I think one of my childhood friends is coming," Yonbi said to him. The man looked up to see the blonde ninja coming down. "How many times do I have to tell you that my name is Rushi?" the man told his Biju. "I couldn't care less, you are just a miserable human in my eyes," Yonbi told him. Rushi sighed. "And yet people say we descended from you apes," Rushi said with a laugh. Yonbi narrowed his eyes. "Shut up," he said to Rushi. Rushi laughed as he waited for the blonde to come. With the other Jinchuriki. "Oh my goodness, I haven't seen her in forever, I wonder how much she has changed," Gobi said to his jailer. The man covered most of his face in armor with steam coming out of it as he turned to see the blonde shinobi. "You know that person?" he asked. "Why yes I do Han, she was always a rowdy person," Gobi said with a smile. Han shook his head. "Well this will be interesting," Han said with an unseen smile. As Naruto came down to meet the two he stopped to gaze at them as they gazed at him. Breaking the gaze, Rushi decided to speak. "Hey kid," he said to Naruto. Naruto smiled as he looked at him. "Hello number 4, Naruto said to him. Han laughed as Rushi curled an eyebrow. "Why am I going to find this kid annoying?" Rushi wondered. Naruto turned to see the other man laughing. "And you are number 5, Naruto said to him. Han stopped laughing to look at Naruto. "Yeah I am, hey kid, I am Han the Jinchuriki of the Gobi," he said to the blonde. Naruto nodded. Rushi coughed. "I am Rushi, the Jinchuriki of the Yonbi," he said to him. Naruto smiled. "Hello, I am Naruto Uzumaki, Jinchuriki and friend of the Kyuubi no Yoko aka Hina-chan," Naruto said to them. Both were surprised. "You know your Biju's name?" Rushi asked. Naruto nodded. "Yes she let me know her name, here I will get her," Naruto said as he bit his thumb. "Kage Bunshin no Jutsu," Naruto yelled as another clone came out. "So this guy knows the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu," Rushi said. Naruto then pressed the seal on his stomach. "Kuchio's no Jutsu," he yelled. Soon the seal began to twist as a result, then smoke appeared around it. After the smoke cleared, out came a beautiful red-haired woman in a red and black kimono with a bracelet on her arm that said, "Seal." Hina smiled as she breathed the fresh air. "Ah, it feels good to stretch, thank you Naruto-kun," Hina said to him. Naruto smiled with a nod. "You're very welcome Hina-chan," he told her. Meanwhile, Rushi and Han were speechless. Both had their mouths hanging in the air as they saw Kyuubi no Yoko out in the open. They couldn't believe that their Biju could roam on the outside while still being attached to them. Needless to say, their Biju were going frantic also. "Hey Rushi, can you get the kid to teach that to you? I want to be outside also," Yonbi begged. Rushi smiled. "So now you use my name?" he asked. Yonbi looked apologetic. "I am sorry I was too mean, please get him to teach that to you," Yonbi begged again. Rushi sighed, but nodded. "Anything for you I guess," he said to his Biju. Yonbi was jumping up and down in his cage with excitement. Rushi mentally laughed. With Han, you have to get that kid to teach you what he did, please, I want to see Hina again," Gobi begged. Han thought about it. I am not sure," he said. Gobi was on its knees, or rather paws, begging for Han to let it go outside. After a few minutes of asking, Han said okay. Gobi thanked him as it swirled around in its cage. Both Rushi and Han stepped forward towards Naruto. Naruto noticed the two with their demanding looks as he smiled. Naruto, do you think you could teach us how you did that?" Han asked. Gobi was listening intently to the conversation with eyes full of hope. Rushi nodded with the same question in mind. Naruto smiled as he looked at the two desperate Jinchuriki. "I can't believe they never figured this out," Naruto thought. Naruto turned to Hina, who was pleading with her eyes to teach them. With so many pleas at him, Naruto smiled. "Well, I can teach you, but it isn't hard to do. All it requires is the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu and the Kuchio's no Jutsu," Naruto told them. Both Jinchuriki nodded as they made shadow clones. Naruto nodded as he told them to lift up their shirts exposing the seals. Both did so as the seals came into view. "All right, Now bite your thumb for the summoning and slide it across your clone's seal and just image your Biju into your mind when you do it, Naruto told them. Both nodded as they bit their thumbs and ran the blood across the seal. Soon the clones poofed and there stood Rushi and Han's Biju in their human forms. Rushi stared at the man who was his Biju. The man was wearing a red male kimono that covered his body. The man was a little on the chubby side, but not enough to be considered fat. He had a sword on his waist and his skin was quite dark. Yonbi looked around and smiled. "Hooray, I am outside," Yonbi yelled. Rushi was smiling as he looked at his Biju run around and used his legs. Naruto smiled as he turned to Han, who was also staring at his Biju. "Oh my God," Han said to himself. Gobi smiled as it looked at its form. Gobi was clearly a woman with white hair that ran past her shoulders. She wore a white kimono with a flower design on it. Her body was quite lean as it showed her curves and her D-cup. Han, to say the least, fainted from her beauty. Gobi smiled at her staring partner. "You like what you see, Han?" Gobi asked. Han easily nodded his head as he was still mesmerized. Naruto sighed as he snapped Han out of his daze. "Hello Han-san, are you alive?" Naruto asked. Han woke up and blushed as he looked at Gobi. Gobi?" he asked. Gobi looked at him with a smile. "Yes Han," she asked. Han breathed as he asked his question. WW would you tell me your name?" he asked her. Gobi looked at him and smiled. It was obvious Han and Gobi had more than the Jinchuriki Biju relationship. Gobi smiled as she thought over his request. "All right, I don't mind, as long as you take me to dinner later," she said to him. Han nodded fast to her. Gobi smiled as she decided to answer. "My name is Kairi," she told him. Han smiled as he looked at her. "Kairi-san huh?" Han said to her. Kairi smiled with a nod. "That's right Han-san, now you owe me a date," she said with a wink. Han turned to Naruto and comically cried. Thank you Naruto-san," Han said to him. Naruto smiled as he nodded. "Sure Han, it's all good," Naruto told him. He soon turned to see Rushi and Yonbi talking to each other. "So are you really that happy to be outside?" Rushi asked. Yonbi eagerly nodded. "Yes I am Rushi, thank you," Yonbi told him. Rushi looked shocked. "Man you really are being friendly now," Rushi said to him. Yonbi laughed. "Hey being in a cage for 45 years does that to a Biju or person," Yonbi said with a laugh. Rushi sighed as he looked at Yonbi. "Hey Yonbi," Rushi called. Yonbi turned around. "Yes?" he asked. Rushi looked at him. "Will you tell me your name?" Rushi asked. Yonbi looked at him and smiled. "Sure, I don't mind. My name is Raymond," he told him. Rushi smiled. "Raymond huh?" he said to him. "Yep," he said to Rushi. Rushi nodded as he turned to Naruto. "Thank you kid, this was a great help," Rushi told Naruto. Naruto smiled as he turned to the man. "I am glad to help," Naruto told them. As everyone came into a group, Naruto decided to speak. "So do you guys know about the upcoming war with Konoha?" Naruto asked. Both men nodded. "Yeah, I was shocked at first, but Konoha is becoming more warlike. I guess we have no choice," Rushi said to them. Han nodded and so did Naruto. Naruto turned to Hina and smiled. "Well Hina-chan, you and your friends can talk. Me, Han, and Rushi have training to do," Naruto told her. Hina smiled along with a nod. "All right Naruto-kun, later," she said as she, Kairi, and Raymond walked off to a more secluded spot of the training grounds. After they left, Rushi and Han turned back to Naruto. "What training?" they asked. Naruto smiled as he made a shadow clone. "Why training for the war? You didn't think I wouldn't get something in return for that favor did you?" Naruto told them as he charged at them. Han and Rushi smiled as they assumed their fighting stances. "Bring it Naruto," they said as Naruto and his clone charged the two Jinchuriki. With Hina, Kairi, and Raymond. As everyone sat down in a secluded spot, they all decided to talk. "I haven't seen you two since we were little," Hina said to them. Both smiled with a nod. "Must have been like some 900 years ago," Kairi said to them. So Kairi tells us, what is it like to date a human? Raymond asked. Kairi blushed as she looked down. It feels great to me, I haven't loved anyone this much, I am thinking about training him to be a Hanyu so he can stay with me, Kairi said with a smile. Hina and Raymond smirked as they looked at her. Ah, brother Raymond, not related, just endearment. It seems that lil sis Kairi has found her special person, Hina said with a smile. I do believe you were right, big sister Hina, Raymond said to her. Kairi blushed as she turned to them. What about you Hina? I am sure you like someone also, Kairi defended. Hina looked at her and blushed. Well, I do like him, but it wouldn't work out, Hina said to them. Both looked at each other then back to Hina. Why not, what is the problem? They asked her. Hina sighed. He is engaged, and I am not sure his fiancée would mind sharing him, Hina told them. Raymond and Kairi looked at each other then looked back at her. Well Hina, I am sure he wouldn't mind sharing, but if it is his fiancée, then just convince her. I am sure if you speak from your heart she might share, Kairi said to her. Raymond nodded. At the very least you should tell him your feelings, it will stop you from going insane anyway, Raymond told her. Hina sighed, but nodded. I think you're right, she said to them. Raymond suddenly formed a smirk. So who is this person, have we met them? He asked. Kairi nodded wanting to know the information also. Hina smiled as she looked at them. Well you have met him, but it wasn't that long ago, it was like 8 minutes ago, she said to them. Both had blank faces as they thought. Suddenly they turned to see Naruto, Han, and Rushi training. They blinked then looked back at Hina. You like the blonde? Raymond asked. Hina nodded. Yes I do, she said to them. Kairi licked her lips. I don't blame you Hina, that body is quite nice, if I wasn't dating Han, I would totally take that, Kairi said to her. Hina smiled. It's not just his body, but it's his personality and his spirit, I like it all about him, Hina said to them. Raymond whistled and Kairi smirked. Well you better confess to him, even if he is engaged, it is better than nothing, Kairi said to her. Hina sighed as she looked at Naruto and his training. You just had to worm your way into my heart, didn't you Naruto-kun? Hina thought. That is why you are the strangest ninja I have met, but I don't hate that about you. I have actually come to enjoy it, Hina said in her thoughts. Alright, I will tell him, but I can't say I am expecting anything, Hina said to herself. Hina got up as she walked over to Naruto and his group, who were training. Naruto. Hina said to him. Naruto looked up as he saw Hina. Yes Hina-chan, he asked her. Hina blushed as she looked at him. See, can I talk to you tonight about something? She asked. Naruto looked at her and nodded. Sure Hina, how about at 8 tonight? Naruto asked her. Hina nodded. Thank you Naruto-kun, she said as she walked away. Naruto smiled as he, Han, and Rushi resumed their fight. Hina sat back down with her friends. Things are going to get saucy later, Raymond said to Kairi. Kairi nodded. I can't wait for the result, though I am hoping for a good one, Kairi said to him. Raymond nodded in agreement. As Hina walked back to the group, the two saw her face red as steam came out. Come on Hina, are you really that nervous? Raymond looked at him. I am, I just said I wanted to talk to him and I feel like my heart exploded, Hina said to them. Both turned to each other and smiled. Oh, tonight is going to be so much fun, they thought as the three Biju sat in some shade. Later that day, Naruto had finished his training with Han and Rushi as everyone went their separate ways. Naruto promised to bring his other friend to them sometime. The two liked that idea as they walked off with their Biju. Kairi and Raymond obviously looked at Hina with smiles on their faces as they gave her a thumbs up. Hina blushed as she slowly nodded. Naruto and Hina decided to head back to the compound. Man, that training was tough, Naruto said with a huff. Hina smiled with a nod. You were really pushing yourself today, she told him. Naruto smiled as he turned to her. Well, we do have to get ready for war one suppose, Naruto said to her. Hina could only nod in agreement. She had seen too many wars in her lifetime. Hina even thought over how humans, save a select handful of the world, were even more evil than most of her subjects in the demon realm. Naruto turned to see Hina in some deep thought as he tried to what she said earlier. I wonder what she wants to talk about with me, Naruto thought to himself as he looked her over unconsciously. Naruto seemed mesmerized by her body and her fine figure as she seemed to walk with lots of elegance, for a demon. Hina could feel Naruto's intense stares on her body as she slowly turned to him. Is there something wrong with Naruto-kun? Hina asked him. Naruto snapped out of his daze as he looked at Hina. He suddenly blushed as he turned away. No Hina-chan, it's nothing at all, Naruto struggled to say. Hina smiled as she turned her eyes to the road. As they walked, something very important stopped Naruto as he looked at Hina. Hina stopped as she turned to Naruto, who appeared to be sweating a little bit. What is the matter with Naruto-kun? Hina asked him. Naruto suddenly looked up at her as he tried to speak. Hina, how are we going to explain you to the others? Naruto asked her. Hina's eyes went wide as the realization dawned on her. Hina stood in silence as she tried to think of the best way to tell Naruto's friends about her. Hina smiled as she grabbed Naruto's hand and dragged him to the compound. Hina-chan, Naruto asked her. Hina smiled. We will just keep it short and simple. I am Kyuubi no Yoko, they're simple enough, right? She told him. Naruto's mouth hung as he looked at Hina. Naruto nodded as Hina dragged him to the compound. Something tells me that it is not going to be that easy, Naruto said under his breath. Shinobi House. Everyone was lounging around the house, as some people just got back from their training. Man Ino, do you always have to be so cruel? Kiba said to her. Ino smirked as she looked at Kiba. You should have dodged the poisonous flower, Ino simply told him. Kiba grew a vein as he looked at her. Why do you even have poisonous flowers anyway? He asked her. Ino smiled as she turned to him. Why do you like Hinata? She asked her. Kiba blushed, but looked confused. That is none of your business, Kiba said to a smiling Ino. Then neither is my flower business, Ino told him. Kiba grumbled as he mumbled under his breath, flower bitch, which caused a sudden chase of Ino after Kiba as he tried to dodge the poisonous kunai that Ino was trying to impale him with. Care to repeat that, Kiba? Ino yelled as she chased him around the house. Kiba ran for his life as he entered the living room. As he ran, he accidentally stepped over Neji's sleeping face as he passed the others. Neji woke up with a footprint on his face as his eyes narrowed. Kiba, he said as he ran after Kiba with his Byakugan blazing. Everyone sighed as some continued to play a card game. Got any fives, Tsunade? Jiraiya asked her. Tsunade sighed as she wondered where her fiancé had gone. No, I don't, Jiraiya. Any fours, Hinata? She asked the shy girl. Why yes, Tsunade, Hinata said as she gave her a card. Tsunade smiled as she put her cards down. I am out, Tsunade said as she laid back. Everyone sighed as they put their cards down and laid back on the floor. Man, we all trained, but there is still so much of this day left, Tenten grumbled. Everyone could only nod in agreement. Right now, they could only wait until Onoki gave them a mission involving Konoha, therefore everyone had a lot of free time, much more than they actually wanted. As everyone tried to sleep, they suddenly heard screams come from the yard. I guess they caught the dog boy, Tsunade said to everyone. Everyone chuckled as they nodded. Soon the door's lid opened as everyone looked to see an irate Sasuke. Who is yelling right now? He said to them. Everyone sighed as they pointed to the yard. Kiba, everyone said as Ino and Neji came back into the living room and sat down. Everyone's sweat dropped as they saw Neji and Ino smirk. Sasuke sighed. Why am I here with these guys again? Sasuke wondered as he decided to stay in the living room. As he sat down, everyone heard the front door slide open. I am home, Naruto yelled. Everyone smiled as they laid on the floor. Tsunade obviously had the biggest smile. As Naruto entered the living room, everyone's expressions turned to shock as they saw the company that followed Naruto. Tsunade raised an eyebrow as she put her hands on the table. Hey Naruto-kun, who is that? Tsunade asked with a smile. Everyone turned to Naruto, who took a few steps back. Everyone could feel the ki roll off of Tsunade as if she was implying, Give me an answer, and if it isn't what I want you will pay. Everyone turned to Naruto, who coughed into his hand. First time, I think you should calm down, Naruto told her. Tsunade looked at him for a second, but sighed. She slowly calmed down as everyone breathed easily. Okay Naruto, so who is that? Neji asked her. Naruto smiled as he looked at everyone. Everyone please meet. Kyuubi no Yoko, Hina, Naruto said to them. Suddenly there was a silence as everyone had blank looks on their faces. Naruto kept a strained smile as he looked at Hina. Short and simple my Hina, this might be a disaster, Naruto thought. Soon the silence lifted as Lee decided to speak. Wow, so the Kyuubi is female, Lee said in wonder. Because of Lee, everyone managed to come back to reality, everyone looked at them. Suddenly Tsunade and Jiraiya shot forward. Jiraiya contains it now, Tsunade said as she let out a punch. Jiraiya nodded as they tried to close the gap between them and Hina. Naruto smiled as he blocked Tsunade's punch and stopped Jiraiya with a clone. Whoa Haim, she isn't a bad person, Naruto told them. Everyone looked shocked. But Naruto, she is the reason why you have been having a hard time Konoha, Kiba said to him with a few bruises on his face. Naruto smiled at his face as he turned to Tsunade. She is also the reason why I have a gorgeous fiancé, Naruto said to Tsunade. Tsunade simply blushed as she looked at Naruto. She sighed as she pulled back her fist with muttering, damn you and your sweet talk. Besides, from our conversations, I believe Hina when she says that she didn't mean to attack Konoha, Naruto said to them. Hina nodded as everyone looked shocked. Tsunade turned to Jiraiya who sighed, but nodded. Tsunade nodded as everyone sat down. Please sit and explain, Tsunade said to Hina. Hina nodded as she sat down. Hina began to explain. She told how she was busy fighting Ikibi and Sanbi over some territorial matters. She told how she managed to hold both back, but was incredibly tired after the fight that she failed to notice a man with the Sharingan place her under a genjutsu and attack Konoha. She also told how she tried to fight the control, but couldn't, and the next thing she knew she was inside a cage inside Naruto. As she finished her story, she looked over at everyone in the room. I talked with Ikibi, he said that the part about the fight was true and he apologizes, Gaara said to her. Hina smiled and nodded. Tell him I forgive him and that later I can get Naruto to get him out of that cage, Hina said to him. Gaara nodded as he heard the thrashing of excitement from Ikibi. Well, that definitely explains a bit, but do you know who this guy is? Jiraiya asked her. Hina shook her head. Sorry I don't, he had on a mask. All I saw was the Sharingan, Hina told him. Sasuke seemed interested in the conversation as he looked at her. Could it have been Itachi? Sasuke asked her out of curiosity. Hina turned to him. I don't think so, I have felt Itachi's energy before. The Uchiha who placed me under a genjutsu was a lot more evil than that, Hina said to him. Sasuke narrowed his eyes, but let out a thank you as he thought over the information. After 20 minutes of thinking, everyone smiled as they turned to Tsunade and Jiraiya. We believe her, they all said to her. Tsunade looked at them then at Hina. All right, we believe you, you are free to stay here, Tsunade said to her. Hina smiled as she nodded. Thank you, she said to them. Everyone nodded as they decided to go about some of their business. 5 hours later, everyone sat on the floor in sheer boredom as they looked at the time. It was currently 7:15 p.m. as everyone sighed. There has got to be something we can do, Ino said with her face on the carpet. Everyone nodded as they all thought over the idea. After 15 minutes, someone decided to give it a go. I think I know what we can all do, Hina said to them. Everyone, even Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Shizune, looked at her. Everyone got up as they looked at her. What is that, Hina? Kiba asked her. Hina smiled as she turned to Kiba. We should all do truth or dare, she said with a finger up. Everyone looked at her then at each other. Everyone smiled as they nodded. Sure, it was a game a bit too young for them, but they were bored out of their minds, so they decided to try out the game. All right, truth or dare it is, Ino said to them. Everyone nodded as they got up. We all need a bigger floor, and we need one more person, Naruto said with a smile. Everyone smiled as they left. Naruto smiled as he went down the hall. He slid open one of the doors as he looked at a sleeping figure on a futon. Naruto smiled as he looked at him. "Wake up, Sasuke," Naruto yelled as Sasuke stumbled out of bed. Sasuke's Sharingan blazed as he looked at Naruto like he was insane. "What the hell, what do you want?" Sasuke asked him. Naruto smiled as he placed his hand on Sasuke's shoulder. "We are going to play a game, Sasuke, and we need you to join," Naruto told him. Sasuke snarled. "You woke me up for that. I have no mood for games, I am going back to sleep," Sasuke said to him. Naruto smiled as he nodded. Naruto took out a piece of paper as he took a brush and wrote on the paper. Sasuke looked at him in confusion as Naruto finished. "All right, Sasuke, you have to choose. You can either play a game with us," Naruto said as Sasuke shook his head. Naruto smiled as he held up the paper. "Or you can wear the permanent chakra restriction seal and will never get your chakra back," Naruto said to him with a smile. Sasuke narrowed his eyes as he looked at Naruto. "You wouldn't dare," Sasuke said to him. Naruto smiled. "Oh, that is what you think," Naruto said to him. Sasuke sneered as he looked into Naruto's eyes. He saw that even though Naruto was smiling, he was dead serious. Sasuke sighed. Fine, done, I will play, but I won't enjoy it," Sasuke said to him. Naruto nodded as he put the seal into his coat. Naruto smiled as he and Sasuke walked out and into the meeting hall. Naruto thought as they walked into the room. Everyone turned to see Naruto and Sasuke enter as they smiled. "Nice of you to join us, Sasuke," Temari said with a devious smile. Sasuke shrugged as he sat down. Naruto smiled as he sat down also. "All right, let us begin our truth or dare game," Naruto said to them. Everyone nodded as the game began. "Who goes first?" he asked them. Ino smiled as she put her hand up. "I want to go first, Gaara. Truth or dare," Ino said to him. Gaara thought for a second and sighed. "Truth," he said to her. Ino nodded as she looked at him. "What is your favorite hobby?" she asked him. Gaara looked at her and sighed again. "I like to cultivate cacti," Gaara said to her. Ino smiled with a nod as everyone joined with a smirk. Gaara shook his head as he started. "Shino, truth or dare," Gaara said to him. Shino, being emotionless at times, decided to respond. "Dare," Shino said to him. Gaara nodded. "I dare you to take off those glasses and show us your eyes," Gaara told him. Shino sighed as everyone closed to see his eyes for the first time. Shino took off his glasses as he set them on the ground. Shino opened his eyes as everyone looked at him. "Wow," Ino said as everyone looked at his eyes. Shino's eyes were quite black, but had a slight color of blue in them. His eyes were a bit similar to Sasuke's as he put his glasses back on. "There," he said as everyone sat back. "Tsunade-san, truth or dare," Shino said to her. Shino smiled though thanks to his jacket people couldn't see it. "Truth," Tsunade said to him. Shino nodded as he asked his question. "When is the date for your wedding to Naruto?" he asked her. Tsunade smiled as she looked at him. "I am not sure yet, we are still thinking over the location," she said to him. Shino nodded as he sat back. Hina seemed to wince a bit at the question that Shino asked. She suddenly clutched her heart as she tried to continue the game. Hina, truth or dare," Tsunade said to her. Hina looked up as all eyes were on her. Dare," she wondered if she made the right choice. Tsunade smirked. "Who is the person you currently love?" she asked her. Hina cursed under her breath. She knew she didn't have to say or she could lie, but she would be pestered about it later, causing her to explode. Hina sighed as she looked up. "I like no one," Hina said to them. Tsunade smirked, realizing she trapped Hina. "Oh yes you do, so who is it?" she asked her. Hina felt she was in a tight spot. Hina gulped as she looked at them. Everyone waited with pleading eyes for the response. Hina's mind collapsed as she decided to run. "Ah, what is that?" she yelled, pointing a finger. Everyone quickly turned to see nothing there as they looked back. "Hina, there is nothing." Naruto stopped to see Hina was gone. Tsunade smirked and so did Naruto. Everyone hunts her down, Naruto said to them. Everyone smiled with a nod as they ran to look for the red-haired woman. With Hina. Hina was sitting on a ledge as she looked at the moon. I can't tell you, not in front of Naruto-kun, Hina said to herself. Unknown to her, Naruto managed to track her down first as he looked at her. What can't you tell me? Naruto said to her. Hina jumped as she turned around to see the blonde walking toward her. Hina sighed as she saw she couldn't really run anyway. I can't tell you Naruto-kun, it will make you and Tsunade hate me, Hina said to him. Naruto seemed shocked that Hina would think that they would hate her. He slowly walked to her as he looked at her. Hina, please tell me what the problem is, Naruto told her. Hina looked at him and felt her will crumble. Hina sighed as she looked at him. You won't hate me for this? She asked him. Naruto nodded seriously as he waited for his response. Hina sighed, thinking things couldn't get any worse for her. Hina looked Naruto dead in the eyes as she worked up her nerve. I love you Naruto-kun, Hina said to him. Same night, 11 o'clock p.m. Naruto stared at Hina as he tried to process what she had just told him. Naruto's eyes had a show of pure confusion as he looked at Hina. Hina in turn was thinking about the mistake she made. Soon Naruto looked down to the ground as he closed his eyes. Why you love me? He asked her. Hina's world seemed to crumble as she heard his voice, but she decided to be honest since she couldn't take back her words. Why yes Naruto-kun, I love you. I love you so much, Hina confessed. Naruto sighed as he looked at her. He looked to see that Hina turned her back to him as she chuckled softly. But I think I waited too late to tell you. It seems that I won't get you since you have Tsunade. Well, I just wanted to tell you, Hina said as she tried to walk past Naruto. Before she got out of his reach, Naruto grabbed her hand and brought her back. You aren't getting away that easily, Naruto said to her. Hina shed a few tears as she tried to avoid his eyes. It doesn't matter Naruto, I know that I can't have you so I will just leave you alone, Hina said to him. Naruto sighed as he tried to get Hina to look at him. Naruto's eyes narrowed as he finally got her to turn around. What makes you think you can't have me? He asked her. Hina scoffed a bit as she turned to him. The fact that you are engaged to Tsunade and I don't think that she minds sharing, Hina said to him. Naruto looked at her until he put his eyes back on the ground. From Hina's view, Naruto's eyes were hidden so she couldn't see his expression. Soon she saw a smirk and then heard a laugh. Naruto soon laughed as he held Hina's hand. Hina looked at him slightly embarrassed to have him laughing at her. What is so funny? I am being serious here, Hina told him. Naruto nodded as he tried to stop laughing. After a few minutes, Naruto was able to calm down as he stared back at Hina. Sorry Hina-chan, but I really don't think you know Tsunade-chan that well, Naruto told her. Hina narrowed her eyes at Naruto with slight confusion in her expression. Naruto sighed as he decided to elaborate. What I mean is that I don't think Tsunade will mind all that much, if anything I think she would allow it, Naruto told her. Hina looked at him more than surprised as she tried to take in his words. Suddenly both were snapped out of their talk when a certain voice decided to make itself known. She might accept with a condition, the figure said to them. Naruto smiled as Hina turned around. She looked to see the person they were talking about behind a tree. Hello Hime, Naruto said to her. Tsunade smiled as she walked up to the two. Hello Naruto-kun, so what is everything about? She asked him. Naruto sighed as he decided to elaborate. In a nutshell, Hina loves me also and wants to share me with you, Naruto told her. Tsunade turned to Hina and narrowed her eyes a bit. Hina almost felt herself tremble under Tsunade's gaze, considering she was the most powerful being in existence. Tsunade's glare turned into a smile as she looked at Hina. Tsunade walked up to Hina as she stood face to face with her. Tsunade sighed as her smile glowed. You get one shot, hurt him and I will do what the Yondaime couldn't do, Tsunade said to her. Hina smiled as she nodded. Good, alright, you are the only woman I will allow to be with Naruto other than me, Tsunade said to her. Hina smiled as she ran to hug Naruto. Naruto smiled as he suddenly went red as Hina's bust decided to rub against his arm. Tsunade smiled at Naruto's reaction as she looked at him. Oh well, might be good to have another woman, for what I don't know though, Tsunade thought as she shrugged her shoulders. Hina smiled as she kissed Naruto on the cheek. Naruto blushed as Tsunade grew a tick on her head. That is going to take some getting used to, Tsunade thought. Soon Hina let Naruto go as he clasped his hands. Alright, let's go back, I am sure everyone is worried about us, Naruto said to the girls. Both girls nodded as Hina took Naruto's right shoulder and Tsunade took his left. Naruto smiled as he took his girls back to the house. Shinobi house. Everyone soon came back as they sat back into the house as they sat in the same room where they played the game. I wonder where she went, Lee thought as everyone sat down. Everyone couldn't help but nod with him. I wonder if Tsunade's question caused Hina some grief, Ino said to them. Everyone put up a thinking pose as they tried to find the reason. Maybe it brought up a bad memory. Shizune asked them. Everyone looked at her then looked up. Maybe that's it, Kiba said to them. Everyone nodded as they decided to wait for the 3 missing people to come back so they could finish their game or what was left of it. Soon everyone heard a door slide as they assumed the people coming were Naruto, Tsunade, and Hina. Soon all 3 people appeared as everyone gasped at Hina holding Naruto's arm with a smile on her face. Naruto grinned as he looked at their reactions. Is that surprising? Naruto asked them. Everyone nodded as Jiraiya cried. First time now the beautiful and powerful Kyuubi, Hina. Why does he get all the luck? Jiraiya thought. Tsunade, Naruto, and Hina sat down as they looked at their confused friends. Okay, in a nutshell, again, Hina likes me and Tsunade said she didn't mind sharing, so me and Hina are dating, Naruto told them. Everyone gasped as they tried to see how a human and Biju could date, but it proved to be too much of a headache to think about anymore. So are we continuing the game? Tsunade asked them. Everyone looked at each other and shrugged. Alright, why not, Tamari said to them. Everyone nodded. Tsunade decided to start again. So Hina, truth or dare? Tsunade asked her with a smile. Hina thought and smiled. Dare, Hina said to her. Tsunade smiled. I dare you to kiss the person you love, Tsunade said to her. Hina looked at Tsunade and nodded. Hina turned to Naruto with a look of lust in her eyes and Naruto slowly, but surely tried to back away. Oh Naruto-kun, Hina said to him and she pounced on him. Naruto gasped as Hina laid her soft lips on his. Naruto was in shock as was everyone else that saw them. Naruto began to register the kiss and Hina slowly took her lips off of Naruto's lips. Hina sat back with a smile as she looked at a dazed Naruto. Did you enjoy that? Hina asked him. Naruto blushed, then fainted from the feeling. Hina and Tsunade chuckled as they decided to continue while Naruto slept. Okay, my turn, Shizune, truth or dare? Hina asked her. Shizune looked up as she thought. Truth, Shizune said to her. Hina smiled as she turned to Shizune. What is your favorite hobby besides studying medical jutsu? Hina asked her. Shizune thought for a minute then decided to answer. I like to walk Tauntaun on occasions, Shizune answered. Hina nodded as Shizune decided to speak. Sasuke, truth or dare? Shizune asked the Uchiha. Sai dare, Sasuke said with a bit of indifference. Shizune smiled as she took out her book along with a pen. I dare you to fight Naruto when he wakes up, Shizune said to him. Everyone gasped as they turned their heads to see a smirking Sasuke. Everyone turned to Shizune and looked at her like she was insane. Sasuke got up and walked over to Naruto. Hey Dun, wake up so I can kick you again, Sasuke said to him. Naruto's eyes shot open as he took a glance at Sasuke. Naruto, while knocked out, was able to hear most of the game as he got up. Bring it Uchiha, I will kick you again, just like I did on that mission, Naruto said to Sasuke as he took off Sasuke's chakra restriction seal. Sasuke smiled as his chakra returned. Naruto's eyes narrowed. Don't try to escape either, I can still kill you if you try to leave, Naruto told him. Sasuke frowned, but nodded nonetheless. Fine done, kicking you will be worth the stay here, And if I lose then I will be more than happy to help with the invasion of Konoha, Sasuke said to him. Naruto smiled with a nod. And if I lose, I will teach you my most powerful Fudan technique, Naruto said to him. Sasuke smirked and nodded. You got yourself a deal done, Sasuke said to him. Naruto nodded also as the two left. Everyone looked at each other as they all scrambled out of the room to watch the fight. Iowa Training Grounds 12 o'clock a.m. Whoever fights this late is beyond me. Sasuke and Naruto stood apart from each other as they stared each other down. Everyone sat on a ledge as they waited for the fight. Everyone tensed or smiled as they got to see a good fight. Shizune came between Naruto and Sasuke as she coughed into her hand. Alright, one-on-one match, Sasuke Uchiha vs Naruto Uzumaki, begin, Shizune shouted as she jumped back. Sasuke and Naruto smirked as they disappeared. Everyone gasped as they heard a few shockwaves around them. Soon the biggest hit the middle of the field as they saw Naruto and Sasuke's kunai clash, both still smiling. Naruto managed to pivot his foot as he tried to bring his kunai towards Sasuke's neck. Sasuke smirked as he ducked his head only to find his face hit by Naruto's foot from the close contact. Sasuke grinned as he was shot backwards away from Naruto. Naruto smiled as he called out to Sasuke. Come on Sharingan user, let's go at it, Naruto shouted. Sasuke cursed under his breath as he took out his sword. Very well done, Sasuke said as he disappeared behind Naruto and lunged forward. Naruto managed to pivot his foot as his kunai clashed again with Sasuke's sword as they two bounced back. Naruto smiled as he threw 3 shuriken at Sasuke. Sasuke smirked as he easily blocked the kunai to see Naruto dash towards him. Sasuke smirked as he was able to backflip in time to avoid Naruto's dash. Naruto smirked as he poofed out of existence. Sasuke looked confused until he got kicked in the back. Sasuke grunted as he made a soft landing. Damn Kage Bunshin, Sasuke thought. Naruto smirked as he disappeared again. Sasuke turned his eyes to follow Naruto as he saw the blonde behind him. Sasuke smirked as he ducked his head and flipped to avoid a drop kick from Naruto. Both exchanged blows as Sasuke tried to cut Naruto with his sword as Naruto managed to dodge the blade while losing some hair. Sasuke smiled as he began to spin and kicked Naruto across the grounds. Naruto cursed as clutched his stomach. He looked up to see Sasuke's hand glowing with lightning as Naruto managed to get up. Chidori Nagashi, Sasuke yelled as a lighting current went towards Naruto. Naruto smiled as he backflipped and avoided the strike, but Sasuke managed to maneuver the current and sent it after Naruto. Naruto smiled as he jumped to the side and avoided the strike again. Sasuke cursed as he sent an entire wave of lightning at Naruto. Naruto looked back at the massive wave of lightning as he did his hand sign. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Naruto yelled as he made a mountain of clones. Sasuke smirked as the lightning hit the clones, causing a spectacular light show. Everyone smiled as they saw the lights flash. Those two really can't hold back, can they? Tsunade said with a smile. Everyone shook their heads. I would have been surprised if they weren't serious, Gaara said to her. I know that's true, Shikamaru said to them. Everyone could only nod. Though I wonder why Naruto and Sasuke aren't using their elemental jutsus, Temari wondered. Hina smirked. I think we might see them soon, Hina said to them. Soon everyone looked to see smoke from the explosion engulf the area. Sasuke covered his eyes slightly as Naruto shot out of the smoke and slammed Sasuke in his jaw, sending the Uchiha sliding across the dirt. Sasuke managed to recover from the blow slightly as he smirked. This feels weird that we aren't fighting over my allegiance to Konoha, Sasuke said to Naruto. Naruto smiled with a nod in agreement. I know, people might have tried to stop this fight by now, Naruto told him. Sasuke nodded as he shot forward. Naruto followed as the two clashed, making another loud explosion. Naruto moved back as he clasped his hands. Soon his arms started to vibrate violently as he shot his arm forward. Fudan, Rinkuden wind style. Drilling air bullet, Naruto yelled as he sent a burst of wind at Sasuke. Sasuke smirked as he jumped out of the wind's way in time to see the destruction that would have befallen him. Not bad done, Sasuke said as he did his hand signs. Naruto smirked realizing the jutsu. Kaiten, Gokaku no Jutsu, Sasuke yelled as he sent a fireball at Naruto. Naruto managed to dodge the fire at the last second as he looked at Sasuke. Alright, let's turn it up a notch, Naruto said as he winked at Hina. Hina smiled and blushed with a nod. Naruto smiled as Hina's chakra enveloped his body. Sasuke smiled as he activated his curse mark. Naruto suddenly smiled. You know Sasuke, you should replace that mark, it isn't healthy, I think I can give you a new one, Naruto told him. Sasuke pondered his offer and nod. Alright, done, at least I don't need that pedophile on me anymore, Sasuke thought as he went to his second stage curse mark. Naruto smiled as they two clashed again. Sasuke managed to bring Naruto into the air as he went high in the sky. Sasuke gripped Naruto's hand as he flew back down at an amazing speed. Sasuke managed to get Naruto under him as he propelled him to the ground. Hayabusa Daibingu, Falcon Dive, Sasuke yelled as he sent Naruto into the dirt with a loud bang. Sasuke smirked as he looked at the ground with his wings flapping. Everyone looked and waited for Naruto to appear. Soon red chakra flared as Naruto climbed out of the hole. Phew, that was too close, Naruto said as he dusted himself off. Sasuke's eyes narrowed until he formed a smile. Soon Sasuke was about to attack Naruto again until he was stopped by Shizune. Hey you two, what do you think of turning this into a 2-on-2 battle? Shizune asked them. Naruto and Sasuke looked at each other and smiled. Alright, we don't mind, they said to her. Shizune nodded. So who is going to fight with them? Shizune asked. Gaara soon rolled his head and cracked his knuckles. I will fight, Gaara said with a hidden smirk as he sunshined next to Naruto. Naruto smiled as he put his hand on Gaara's shoulder. Glad to have you as a partner, Naruto told him. Gaara looked at him and smiled. Sure man, Gaara said to him. Soon everyone looked at each other until Neji got up and sunshined next to Sasuke. I want a rematch with Naruto and I aim to get it, Neji said to him with a smile. Naruto nodded as Shizune resumed the match. Sasuke, Neji, Gaara, and Naruto smiled as they ran at each other. Soon Naruto went into his own thoughts. This is so much fun, even though we are going to war in a few days we are still having fun. I think we will be able to do this again. I know we will. These last days of temporary peace are so enjoyable. I guess we are all going to be tired tomorrow, Naruto thought as he and Gaara collided with Sasuke and Neji. Next morning 11 o'clock a.m. Naruto woke up to the rays of sunshine that penetrated his room as he looked across from his bed to see Tsunade sleeping soundly on his left and Hina sleeping soundly on his right. Naruto smiled as he got up, taking precaution not to wake up his women. As he got up, he gave them each a kiss on the cheek as they slowly stirred. Well, I will let them sleep for now. Right now, I need to get everyone else up, Naruto said to himself as he left the room. As Naruto walked through the house, Naruto stopped by everyone's room as he managed to wake everyone up. As he continued his trek, Naruto smirked as he entered Sasuke's room. Wake up loser, Naruto said to him. Sasuke groaned as he opened his eyes. His eyes slowly took the form of Naruto, much to his displeasure. Shut up Dobi, just cause you beat me and Neji last night doesn't make you invincible, Sasuke said to him. Naruto shook his head as his fingers swayed back and forth. Hey, you accepted the dare, and you both got your hands on you so you will be helping with the war against Konoha, Naruto said to him. Sasuke sighed as he rubbed his temples. Man, the dove wins a round against me and he thinks he is king, though I suppose that is partly my fault for falling for such a simple jutsu, Sasuke thought as he got out of bed. Naruto smiled as he saw Sasuke head for the washroom. Oh Sasuke, I will have Hina-chan work on your seal later today, Naruto told him. Sasuke nodded and went inside. Naruto soon left as he went back to his room. Naruto saw Tsunade and Hina still sleeping as he got a gleam in his eye. Creeping close to the girls, Naruto smiled as he gave Tsunade a deep kiss. Tsunade moaned a bit as her eyes slowly opened to see Naruto kissing her. Naruto smiled as he leaned off of her, much to her disappointment. "Ah, Naruto-kun, can't I enjoy it a bit more?" Tsunade asked him. Naruto chuckled as he gave her another kiss. Tsunade smiled as she returned his kiss as she wrapped her hands around his head. Unknown to them, Hina had slowly gotten up only to see Naruto and Tsunade in a hot makeout session. Deciding to start her day, Hina began with a small pout. "What about me, Naruto-kun? I feel left out," Hina said to him. Naruto turned to see Hina awake with a single pout on her face. "Ah, Hina-chan, you know I wouldn't leave you out," Naruto said to her as he made a shadow clone. Hina smiled as the clone kissed her lips and embraced her in a makeout session. After 10 minutes of a makeout session, Naruto and Tsunade parted with a single piece of fluid connecting their mouths. "Thank you for the wake-up, Naruto-kun," Tsunade said to him. Naruto smiled as he looked at her. "I aim to please," Naruto said to her. Tsunade nodded as she left the room in a good mood. Naruto sighed as Hina finished her session also. Naruto smiled as he looked at Hina. "So was the clone better than me?" he asked her. Hina smiled as she licked her lips. "Are you jealous?" she asked him. Naruto sighed as he shook his head. "Actually, yes I am, even if you're technically kissing me, it still feels weird to see that," Naruto said to her. Hina smiled as she leaned on his shoulder. "Don't worry, Naruto-kun, I won't betray you for anyone, I love you and no one else," Hina said to him. Naruto smiled in relief as he got a twinkle in his eye. Naruto moved his hands down her body, making Hina shiver as he slapped her a little. Hina jumped from the action as she looked at Naruto with a surprised look. "I am glad to hear that, Hina," later, Naruto said to her as he left a stunned Hina in the room. Naruto looked to see everyone in the living room as they sat on the floor. As Naruto and Tsunade entered, everyone decided to talk. "So exactly when are we going to war with Konoha?" Shikamaru asked. Tsunade turned to him as she leaned on Naruto's shoulder. "Tomorrow, we are going to be a part of an infiltration team. While Onoki and some of his forces hold them between the borders of Konoha and Iwa, we will be dealing with things on the inside so that Konoha will be taken down more effectively," Tsunade said, answering his question. Shikamaru nodded along with everyone as they saw Hina come into the room and sit on the floor also. "So what are we doing today?" Choji asked her. Naruto turned to him. "As of right now, we were told to relax for tomorrow. He said we are to leave for Konoha at 11 o'clock p.m. tonight," Naruto said to him. Choji nodded as Naruto looked around. "Any more questions?" Naruto asked them. Ino brought up her hand. "Yes, Ino," Tsunade said to her. "Who are we saving when we go there?" she asked them. Everyone looked at her and looked at each other. "Save whoever you feel is worth saving, that is all I can say," Tsunade said to her. Ino nodded as she left the room. Soon everyone else filed out, leaving Naruto, Sasuke and Hina. "All right, Sasuke, let's get that love bite off of you," Naruto said to him. Sasuke scowled as he looked at the blonde. "Watch it done," Sasuke said to him. "All right, Sasuke, this process is very painful, but the end result will be wonderful for you," Hina said to him. Sasuke nodded as Hina bit his mark. No sooner than that, she pulled back as Sasuke waited for the pain. "How is this process painful? It hasn't done any arg," Sasuke yelled as he yelled on the floor. Hina did some hand signs as she put up a privacy seal around Sasuke. "Thank you, Hina, might have gotten a headache from that," Naruto said to her. Hina nodded. "All for you, Naruto-kun," Hina said as the two left. Sasuke wasn't going to be getting up anytime soon. Somewhere in the Iwa district 2 hours later, 1 o'clock p.m. As they all went their separate ways, Naruto managed to find Gaara. "Hey Gaara, I can get Shukaku out now," Naruto said to him. Gaara turned to him and nodded. "Shukaku is very excited to hear that," Gaara said to him. Naruto nodded and walked to the training grounds with Gaara. Training grounds. As Naruto and Gaara entered the training field, both looked to see Rushi and Han fighting as their Biju sat in the shade talking. "Who are they?" Gaara asked him. Naruto smiled as he looked at Gaara. They are also Jinchuriki and those are their Biju in human form, Naruto told him. Gaara nodded as he looked at the woman with white hair and the big man with a bald head. As both came down, Rushi and Han turned to see Naruto along with someone. "Hey Naruto," they both said to him. Naruto smiled. "Hey Han, hey Rushi," Naruto said to them. Both nodded as they looked at Gaara. "Who is he?" Han asked. "This is Sabaku no Gaara, Jinchuriki to the Ikibi," Naruto said to them. Soon Kairi and Raymond got up and walked over. "Wow, I haven't seen Shukaku in ages," Kairi said to them. Naruto nodded as he turned to Gaara. "Gaara made a shadow clone," Naruto said to him. Gaara nodded as a replica of himself came into view. Naruto nodded. "Now bite your thumb and press on the seal on your stomach, then do the Kuchio's no jutsu," Naruto said to him. Gaara nodded as the clone took off some clothes and revealed the mark. Gaara bit his thumb as he pressed on the seal and yelled. "Kuchio's no jutsu," Gaara yelled. Soon smoke enveloped the area as everyone looked to see a man in his mid-20s wearing a brownish male kimono. His eyes were shaped like tiny shuriken and a smile graced his face. "Yay, I am free," he yelled as he smelled the air outside. Gaara turned to Shukaku. "So does this mean I can sleep now?" Gaara said to him. Shukaku turned to him. "Yeah, you can Gaara, sorry about that, my chakra runs wild when my container falls asleep. I never knew why, but anyway I am sorry about that," Shukaku said to him. Gaara nodded. "Forget it," Gaara said to him. Soon Shukaku, Kairi, and Raymond walked off, but not before Kairi could look at Naruto. "So what did you say to her?" Kairi said to him. Naruto looked at her and smiled. "Guess," Naruto said to her. Kairi looked at him and smiled. "Hee, that kid is most interesting. Well, good luck Hina," Kairi said as she left with her friends. "So Gaara, how does it feel to be separated from Shukaku?" Naruto asked him. Gaara smirked. "It actually feels quite good, but at the same time nerve-wracking," he said to him. Naruto nodded in agreement. Soon after his talk, Naruto turned to Han and Rushi. "Wanna spar with me and Gaara?" he asked them. Both looked at him and smiled. "Bring it kid," Rushi said to him. Gaara sighed. "Didn't we fight enough last night?" he asked Naruto. Naruto nodded. "Yes, but we are leaving in a few hours, are you sure you don't want your blood pumping before you go?" Naruto said to him. Gaara sighed as he shrugged his shoulders. "Oh well, let's go then," Gaara said to him. Naruto nodded as they charged Rushi and Han. 4 hours later, Shinobi House, 5 o'clock p.m. Naruto and Gaara smiled as they came through the door of the house. Temari poked her head out of the door to see both smiling. "And what did you do?" she asked them, curious to know. "We had training," Gaara said to her. Temari sighed as she looked at them. "Typically, we have the day off until our biggest assignment tomorrow and you guys use it to train," Temari said as she shook her head. Naruto shrugged his shoulders. "Oh well, do what you love and love what you do," Naruto said to her. Temari nodded her head. Yeah Naruto, we'll see you later," she said as she ran off somewhere. "Where is she going?" Gaara wondered. Naruto smirked. "It probably has something to do with Shikamaru," Naruto said to him. Gaara looked at him with a raised eyebrow. Okay, I think," Gaara said to him. Naruto laughed. "You have no idea what I mean to you?" Naruto asked him. "No I don't," Gaara simply said. Naruto sighed and wrapped his arm around Gaara and walked him to his room. "I think it is time I told you about life Gaara," Naruto said as he closed the door. With Shikamaru and Temari. As the new couple walked through Iwa enjoying their date, both smiled as they enjoyed the quiet. Suddenly that quiet was interrupted by a loud noise. "What?" The scream echoed through Iwa, as people all looked around in confusion. Soon Shikamaru shuddered a bit. "What's wrong with Shika-kun?" Temari asked him. "I think I am going to see the Shinigami soon," Shikamaru told her. Back at the house. "And now Gaara, calm down, this isn't a reason to be all bothered," Naruto nervously said. Gaara turned to him. I'll kill him, I'll kill him, I'll kill him," Gaara said as he tried to walk out the door. Naruto managed to reach the door first. Gaara, you have to calm down, they probably haven't even gone that far yet, Naruto said with a sheepish smile. Gaara suddenly grinned, but this grin wasn't meant for good news. Good, then I will be able to stop him before it does get that far, Gaara said as he shone out of the room. Naruto blinked as he looked at the empty room. Gaara, wait, Naruto yelled as he shunshined out of sight. With Shikamaru and Temari, both were quietly enjoying the silence as they sat on a bench enjoying each other's company. As they sat in silence, suddenly Shikamaru shot up. What's wrong with Shikamaru? Temari asked him. There is a wave of Ki coming for us, I can't identify it but I think it's. Get away from her, the voice yelled. Shikamaru and Temari immediately turned around and saw Gaara running at Shikamaru with a sand spear. Oh crap, Shikamaru said as he tried to run, but was blocked by a wall of sand. Face your death like a man, Gaara said to him. Shikamaru dodged a blow of sand as Temari shot up. Gaara, stop, we aren't doing anything, calm down, Temari yelled at him. Soon Naruto came up also and with a mass of cage bunchins drove Gaara into the ground and restrained him. Now Gaara calms down, they are just dating, you don't have to kill him, Naruto said to him. Gaara looked at Naruto and narrowed his eyes. Uzumaki, if you don't let me go I will kill you also, Gaara said to him. Naruto's sweat dropped. Just try it, Gaara, I am not a pushover and you know that, Naruto said to him. Gaara looked at Naruto and huffed. Fine, I won't kill him, but should he mess with her I will crush his bones to dust, Gaara said as he got up and walked back to the house. Sorry about that, Shika, Naruto said to him. Shikamaru got up and dusted himself off. What the hell was that all about, Naruto? Shikamaru asked him. Temari nodded as she wanted to know also. Naruto sighed as he turned to them. I tried to teach Gaara about life, Naruto said to them. Temari and Shikamaru were shocked as their faces paled. Naruto felt it was in his best interests to leave, so he shunned home. As the couple stayed there in the park, Shikamaru came out of his daze. I can only pray for the Konoha shinobi that we encounter on our mission tonight. Gaara is really going to need a stress reliever, Shikamaru said to her. Temari nodded in agreement as the two walked back to the compound. It is nice that he is protective of you though, he said to her. Temari smirked. It sure is, she said to him as they walked back. Shinobi House, nighttime. As the darkness engulfed the skies of Iwagakure, everyone was now home as they all got ready for their most important assignment for today. Naruto was in his room along with Tsunade and Hina as they began to pack their stuff. Everything is going to change after this, huh? Naruto said to them. Both women quietly nodded as they looked at him. Having second thoughts, Foxy? Hina asked him. Naruto smiled, but shook his head. No, Hina-chan. I do feel weird that we are going to be infiltrating our past village for war, but we are Iwa shinobi now. I know this must be done, Naruto said to her. Hina nodded her head as she sat on the bed. Tsunade soon walked up to her fiancé and gave Naruto a quick hug. Don't worry, Naruto-kun. We will just do what we have always done, nothing more nothing less, Tsunade replied. Naruto nodded with a smile as he gave Tsunade a quick kiss that she gratefully accepted. Hina smiled at the act and licked her lips as she walked over to them and pouted. What about me, Foxy-sama? Hina said to him. Naruto smiled and hungrily kissed Hina as she trembled from his kiss. Tsunade smiled as she soon sealed most of her scrolls and weapons. Tsunade had finished packing and took into account all of the items. Well, I will be right back, I need to go check something, she said to them. Naruto and Hina nodded as she helped Naruto sort through his clothes. With Tsunade. Tsunade walked through the house with a smile as she looked to see the others packing also. Tsunade could see Sasuke's muted yelling in the seal as she turned to see everyone else. Tsunade soon smiled as she rubbed her stomach softly. To think I have this to worry about now, Tsunade said with a chuckle as she roamed the house. With everyone else. Tenten, can you give me that thunder scroll? Neji asked her. Tenten nodded as she gave him the scroll. Neji had been training under an Iwa shinobi who ironically had a lightning affinity. Neji decided to spend his time with the person to learn more techniques for himself. Neji even managed to make an adaptation of the Jiyukin form of his family. He was quite adept in the lighting affinity now. So Neji, are you ready for this? She asked him. Neji nodded. I really wouldn't want to do this, but it seems that Konoha is getting out of control, so this must be done, Neji said to her. Tenten nodded in agreement as Lee came into the room. Neji-san, Tenten-san, we need to go over our formation one last time, Lee said to them. Both nodded as they finished their sealing and went with Lee. Hinata looked up to see Neji, Lee, and Tenten leave as they left the room. Hinata sighed as she finished her sealing for the infiltration. The family, please don't fight. I don't want to hurt you, just come with me and Neji to Iwa, Hinata said in her thoughts. Shino and Kiba could see her distress in the situation as they finished all of their preparations. You think she can go through with this, Shino? Kiba asked the bug user. Shino sighed as he looked at Hinata, then back to Kiba. It is her choice, Kiba. She must be ready for this. I don't really approve, but I know that this must be done, Shino said to him. Kiba soon formed a fist and hit the ground. What the hell is Konoha doing? Damn it, I don't like this at all, Kiba said. I know, Kiba, but we must do this. Be happy that Tsuchikage-sama said that we could save who we felt were worth saving, Shino said to him. Kiba nodded in agreement as a slight smile graced his face. That is true, thank you, Shino, Kiba said to him. Shino nodded as he adjusted his glasses. What friends are for Kiba, Shino said to him. Soon Shino, Kiba, and Hinata left also. Soon the only one in the room was a muted Sasuke yelling out his pain. With the others. Alright, so if we are intercepting target A, then we will go with our standard formation until we can understand their abilities, Shikamaru said to his friends. Ino and Choji nodded as they went over their plan. Got it, Shika, they both said to him. Shikamaru nodded as he leaned back from the table. Man, this is troublesome. What is Konoha doing over there? Shikamaru said while rubbing his temples. Both shook their heads. If they are going to war with us, then they must be up to no good, Choji said to him. Shikamaru nodded along with Ino in agreement. Well, we don't have a choice, so let's get this over with before a full-scale war comes into play, Ino said to them. Both guys nodded as it would be more troublesome to fight Konoha and its allies instead of just Konoha by itself. Alright, is everything taken care of? He asked them. Both nodded. Alright, Ino Shika Cho trio, let's go, Shikamaru said as they all smiled and left. Gaara and his team smiled as they looked at them. Well, I can say that I won't be bored here. At least I have more freedom here than Suna, Gaara said with a smile. Kankuro and Tamari nodded. This place is more fun. I even got some new puppets, though now I feel the irony of using them on Konoha this time, Kankuro said to them. Tamari nodded. Yeah, it seems that in the end, Konoha is getting destroyed, the only difference is that it is by some of their own shinobi, Tamari said with a smile. Well, we know our purpose, and we are going to help them, so let's go, he said to them. Both nodded as they finished cleaning their weapons and left. Elsewhere. Are you sure you won't fight Shizune? Jiraiya asked her. Shizune nodded. Yeah, Jiraiya, I will go with you guys, but I will just be the medic for everyone. I can't fight against Konoha for some reason. Maybe it's my uncle or something else, but I will fight Konoha in my own way, Shizune said to him with a determined smile. Jiraiya simply nodded as he turned to leave. Oh, and Jiraiya, do you know the recent news regarding Tsunade-sama? Shizune asked him with a smile. Jiraiya turned to Shizune with a look of confusion. No, what is the problem? He asked her. Shizune smiled with a blush as she looked at him. Tsunade-sama is back in the house. Sasuke soon stopped screaming as the privacy seal around him left. Sasuke gasped as he felt his neck. Sasuke smiled as he felt the mark on his neck no more. Alright, that pedophile's mark is gone, now I can go pack, Sasuke said as he soon turned to a mirror. What the hell? Sasuke yelled as Tsunade, Naruto, and Hina came into the room. What is the matter, Sasuke? Naruto said as he saw Sasuke almost the same age as him. What happened to me? Sasuke asked them. Hina smiled as she stepped forward. In addition to removing your seal, I allowed your body to keep the CS2 form by using your own chakra. I figured you would miss flying, so I let you keep that part. Your body had to get taller to adapt to the new power, Hina said to him. Sasuke grumbled, but he seemed to accept her answer. Alright, fine, I guess this is good. Well, I am going to go pack, Sasuke said as he left. Before he left, Sasuke turned to Naruto. Oh, and done, if it isn't too much trouble, let me fight Sakura, Sasuke said to him. Naruto narrowed his eyes on Sasuke. Why Sasuke? Naruto asked him. Sasuke sighed. I have to show her that I don't love her. She has to either kill me or die by me. I will never see her the way she wants me to, and I feel like I should deal with it, Sasuke said to him. Naruto looked at Sasuke for a bit and sighed. Deal with it, Sasuke. She has to come out of her fantasy, one guess, Naruto said to him. Sasuke nodded as he left. Soon the three were left in the room. So is everyone ready to go? Naruto asked them. Both women nodded as they kissed his cheek. Let's go get it done, Naruto-kun, Hina said to him. Naruto nodded as the three shined out of sight. Tsuchikage Mansion, 2 hours later. Soon everyone filled the office as Onoki sat behind his desk. Everyone smiled as Onoki rubbed his head. Alright, this is an S-rank mission for everyone. You will have to destroy Konoha before its forces reach our border, which is in a week. I want everyone back here alive, trust each other and you won't lose to your past village. That is all dismissed, Onoki said to them. Everyone nodded as they left. Gates of Iwa. Everyone arrived at the gates as they looked back at Iwa. They could see some of the people smile at them and wish them all luck. Everyone smiled as they walked out of the gates. Alright everyone, we have a job to do and we will get it done. For Iwa, we must take out Konoha, now let's do our best and get things done, Naruto said to them. Everyone smiled as they pumped their hands into the air. Yosha. Everyone yelled as they sunshined to the trees. Onoki smiled as he saw them go. Never in my life would I miss them all. I hope they do return. This village is much better with them than without, Onoki said as he returned to his office. With everyone ran through the trees at an amazing pace as they smiled. It was strange, though everyone was about to go to war with their own village, they couldn't help but laugh and smile. Soon people went to their own conversations as they ran towards their destined location. Jiraiya decided to go to Tsunade. So Tsunade, is it true? Jiraiya asked her. Tsunade smiled as she looked at him. Is that true? She asked, trying to avoid the question, but to no avail. Don't. Is what true? Me, are you really? Yes, I am, and I am very happy right now, Tsunade said to him. Jiraiya looked at her. How long? He asked. Tsunade sighed. Around 2 months, maybe more, she said to him. So have you told Naruto? He asked her. Tsunade smiled. Not yet. I was planning to, but I will tell him after the mission is over, Tsunade said to him. Jiraiya nodded and turned back to the group. So what is his name? Jiraiya asked her. Tsunade chuckled. I don't know, but I am sure that Naruto-kun will be happy, Tsunade said to him. Jiraiya nodded as everyone kept up their fast pace. Everyone felt an upsurge in confidence as they ran for Konoha. Back in Konoha, Danzo was in his office as he smiled over going to war with Iwa. Soon I will have their 2 Biju and we will be the most powerful nation in the world, Danzo said to himself. Soon Sakura came through the door, still in her dark clothes. Danzo-sama, all plans for the invasion of Iwa are in place, Sakura said to him with a smile. Danzo nodded as he got up. Very good, now let's. Danzo soon felt a chill down his spine as if he felt something was coming for him in his village. My head says that this is nothing, but better safe than sorry. I must make sure that Iwa falls, Danzo said to himself. Danzo soon turned to Sakura who was staring at him. Sakura, call our shinobi back. I have a feeling that something big is going to happen, Danzo said to her. Sakura nodded with a smile as she turned around. Yes, Danzo-sama, Sakura said to him as she sunshined in a pillar of darkness. Danzo smiled as he leaned in his chair. Now let's see what happens, Danzo said to himself. With Sakura. Sakura chuckled as she went through the mansion. I am getting stronger and soon I will be able to find Sasuke-kun and bring him back. Then we will kill Naruto for all his troubles, Sakura thought as she walked through the place. Sakura soon ordered all of the shinobi present of Danzo's orders as they all nodded and did their job. Sakura had been promoted to Chunin under Danzo's orders. Sakura now had access to most of the forbidden techniques of Konoha, though she still smiled at the thought of learning her darkness art. She was still very sore about the lose against Naruto and Tsunade when they infiltrated the village. I will kill them and I will get Sasuke-kun back, Sakura said with a smile. Soon she exited the building and walked through the village. Sakura soon spotted Kurenai and Anko eating at a restaurant. Hello you two, Sakura said to them. Both felt that they should ignore her, but Kurenai in her own way couldn't really stand being rude. What do you want, Gaki? Anko asked her. Sakura smirked. Just wanted to see what you were doing, Sakura said to Anko. Anko narrowed her eyes and took a dango in her mouth. Like I need to be watched by a pink banshee, Anko said under her breath. Kurenai smirked, but nodded. Well, I guess it was tolerable to see you, Sakura. Come on Anko, let's go, Kurenai said to her. Soon both shunshined out of sight, leaving Sakura behind. HMPH, well it doesn't matter. I can deal with them in no time if I wanted, Sakura said as she soon left also. Somewhere in Takigakure, 2 days later, 3 o'clock p.m. Everyone suddenly stopped as they took break from their running. They had been running for 3 hours and needless to say, most of the people were beginning to feel sore. Everyone rested in a plane as they relaxed for a few minutes. Man, finally a break, Kiba said as he plopped to the ground. Everyone laughed at him, but couldn't help but nod in agreement. Naruto stayed close to Tsunade as they decided to enjoy the others' company. So where are we currently? Kankuro asked them. Jiraiya smiled as he took out his map. We are currently in Takigakure. From here it is only about another 4 hours to Konoha, Jiraiya told them. Everyone nodded as they continued to relax. Neji could see Hina stared at him as he decided to wonder what the problem was. What is the matter, Hina? Neji asked her. Hina stumbled out of her daze and chuckled. Oh, I was thinking about your cage bird seal, Hina said to him, drawing everyone's attention, especially Neji's. What is the matter with it? He asked her. Hina smiled as she got up. I was reading over some sealing techniques in my head and I think I can remove that seal for you. I don't think you would like to have that disadvantage if you fight your family, Hina told him honestly. Neji looked at her in shock. He could finally have his seal removed. He would no longer be a slave to the main branch of the Hyuga clan. How do you really remove it? He asked her. Hina nodded. Sure. It is actually such a simple procedure that it almost scares even me, Hina said to him. Neji bowed as he looked at her. Please remove this seal. I hate it. I don't want to be a slave anymore, Neji said to her with the utmost respect. Hina smiled with a nod as she got up. Hina placed her palm on Neji's forehead as she concentrated her chakra. Soon a light engulfed the group as it soon faded. There you go, she said to him. Neji rubbed his forehead, and to his shock and joy, the seal was officially gone. Finally I am free, but how did you do it? He asked her. Hina smiled as she looked around, gaining everyone's attention, especially Hinata's. That seal forces chakra into the head of the wearer, and by the use of the necessary hand signs that chakra attacks the brain, causing it to overload and burst from the pain. What I did was to channel that chakra to another place in your body that won't be affected by it. Actually soon, it will combine with your original chakra network and will more than double your chakra reserves, Hina explained to him. Neji smiled as he nodded. Everyone was impressed with the act and congratulated Neji on his release. Hinata also congratulated him and got the least thing she expected from Neji. She got a hug. Neji smiled as he hugged his cousin. Hinata smiled as she hugged back. Naruto smiled as he put his arm on Hina's shoulder. Ah, that was nice of you, Hina-chan, Naruto said to her. Hina smiled with a nod. I just felt like helping. I knew he wanted it off. I just hesitated because I needed to figure out the correct places for that chakra to go, and it seems that it paid off, Hina said to him. Naruto nodded with a smile as he got a gleam in his eye. And such help deserves a reward, Naruto said to her. Hina perked up as she smiled. And what kind of rue? She paused from the shock as she spun around and was given a deep kiss by Naruto. Hina gasped into the kiss as she felt her legs go numb. Naruto soon separated as Hina hit the ground. Maybe I should help the Hyuga more often, Hina said to him. Naruto smiled as he looked at her. Haha, no kidding, but anyway, Naruto said as he clapped his hands, causing everyone to look at him. Alright everyone, our break is over. It's time to go, Naruto said to them. Everyone nodded as they picked up their stuff. Soon the area was cleared as everyone jumped back into the trees and continued their trek to Konoha. Back in Konoha, everyone had gathered around as they returned from their trek to Iwa. Needless to say, everyone was confused over the act as Danzo made his presence known on top of the Hokage mansion. Everyone, I am sorry for calling you back on short notice, but I feel that we must be prepared for a possible invasion or some sort of threat from Iraq. We will wait here and see how things go. We will protect Yamagakure A.N. I decided to change Konoha's name for now, since it is supposed to be called the village hidden in the darkness, and should I find nothing wrong, we will continue in our venture. May we be proud of our village and fight for our superiority, Danzo said to them. Most of the people cheered as they heard his inspirational speech. Danzo had decided for the war to make even some civilians into honorary shinobi for the war. Since no one could go against him, most of the good jonin who quit were now reinstated Yami shinobi even if they didn't like it. Kakashi sighed as he walked through the village with the Yamagakure symbol on his forehead. Man, this is so wrong. Sensei, what would you do right now? Kakashi thought as he walked through the village. The village was a lot darker than the last time Naruto and Tsunade had been there, though they would discover that later. Kakashi could see that Konoha was no longer the great place that it was supposed to be. As he walked, Kakashi soon looked up to see Guy and Asuma. Hey Kakashi, Guy said to him. Kakashi nodded. Hey Guy, Kakashi said, a little downtrodden. Asuma sighed as he took a puff of his smoke. Are you okay Kakashi? Asuma asked him. Kakashi sighed. Really? No, I am not. This isn't the village that I had sworn to protect, and you guys know it. I mean, look at what is on our foreheads. This isn't even a leaf symbol, it is more like a big dot that shows the darkness in the light. I can't stand this, Kakashi said to them. Both nodded in agreement. I know this village is most unyouthful. So much has changed since Tsunade, Jiraiya and the kids left, Guy said to them. Asuma sighed. Never thought I would miss Shikamaru's laziness, Asuma said to them with a chuckle. Or a hyperactive Naruto, Kakashi said to them. Everyone laughed as they went over their memories. Soon everyone became aware of the time as they sighed. Well, let's get our jobs over with, Asuma said to them. Both nodded with him as they all sunshined out of sight. 5 o'clock p.m., borderline of Takigakure and Konoha A.N. I feel that I should keep the location name the same as all. Everyone rushed through the trees as they suddenly entered familiar territory. Everyone stopped to reminisce over the scene. It's been almost a year since we have been here, hasn't it? Shikamaru said to them. Everyone nodded. Yeah, it has. It brings back both painful and happy memories, Neji replied. Everyone stared at the scenes as they walked into their former home. Everyone felt the nostalgia as they ran through the trees. It feels almost wrong that we are going through with this, Hinata told them. Everyone nodded. I know, but we have to. I tend to feel that we are doing our past Kage a service by doing this, Naruto said to her. Everyone slowly stopped and smiled at Naruto's rare wise words. Good choice of words Gaki, Jiraiya said to him. Naruto nodded and smiled. I can get a few in every now and then, Naruto said, sparking laughter from everyone. Naruto smiled as he felt a kiss from Tsunade and Hina. You should try to get more in then, Tsunade said to him along with Hina. Naruto nodded. I will try then, he said to them. Naruto soon turned to his group. All right everyone. We will arrive at Konoha in 2 hours. We are what stands between Konoha and Iwa going to war. Let's do our jobs and save Konoha from itself. We are Iwa shinobi and we will deal with Konoha. We have all trained for this day and we will win. Let's help each other and end the Konoha, or as people call it, the village hidden in the darkness, Naruto said to them. Everyone got a big boost in morale as they nodded. Let's do it. We will have a 15-minute break before we invade Konoha, so everyone rest as much as you can, Tsunade said to them. Everyone nodded. Naruto suddenly got a gleam in his eye. Let one there make the celebratory dinner for everyone, Naruto said with a smile as he ran off. Everyone looked at him and soon smiled. Hey wait, I can't cook, Kankuro said as he ran off. I sure as hell am not cooking, it's too troublesome, Shikamaru said with a smile. I couldn't fill Choji's stomach, Ino said with a smile. Everyone laughed as they all raced to the outreaches of Konoha, or Yamagakure, whichever one you want. Everyone was more than ready to fulfill their duties as they felt inspired to fight. Outreaches of Konohagakure, 7 o'clock p.m. nighttime. Everyone soon reached their destination as they stopped with Naruto in first place. Yay, I am not cooking, Naruto said with a smile. Tsunade came second and Hina in third. Me neither, the two women said with smiles. Soon everyone showed up as the person who came last was Sasuke. Hope you are going to put that fire jutsu to good use, Sasuke, Kiba said with a smile. Sasuke grumbled. Why should I have to cook for everyone? He asked with a grumble. Naruto smiled as he came up to Sasuke. Because if you don't I will tell everyone, he whispered in Sasuke's ear. Sasuke gasped in horror as he cursed. You wouldn't dare, Sasuke said to him. Naruto smiled. Try me, Naruto said to him. Sasuke grumbled. Fine, I will cook after the mission, Sasuke said, earning applause from everyone. Everyone laughed, but soon got serious. Everyone hid in their respective locations. All right everyone. Good luck and be safe, Naruto said to them. Everyone nodded as they began. All right Tenten, Neji go, Naruto said to them. Both nodded as they crept into Konoha's walls. All right everyone, you know the signal, now let's get started, Naruto said to them. Everyone nodded and shunshined to their spots and awaited the signal. With Tenten and Neji, both shinobi silently got into Konoha as they went through the village. They slowly took in the sight of their former village. Man, this village is much worse for wear, Tenten had to admit. Neji nodded. I know, it hasn't been a year and it has changed so much, Neji said to her. Both were nearly appalled at the village's state, but knew that they didn't have the time to pity the place. Both roof-hopped as they neared their first target. All right Neji, give me the layout, Tenten said to him. Neji nodded as he activated his Byakugan. Neji looked inside the building as he saw 3 shinobi. Tenten, 3 enemies at 3 corners of the building, go, Neji said to her. Tenten nodded as she landed on the roof of the shack. Tenten smiled as she moved through the shack with great speed and silence. Tenten stopped for a second as she caught her breath avoiding a shinobi. Phew, too close, she said with a smile. Tenten soon opened a crate to see that it was full of weapons. Tenten smiled as she took out her scroll. You people won't need these, Tenten said as she sealed the weapons into her scroll. Tenten knew that she couldn't seal everything in the room, so she only took a few weapons. Meanwhile outside, Neji face-palmed himself as he saw Tenten. Ready Tenten. Is now really the time to marvel at the enemy's weapons? Neji asked. Back inside, Tenten finished her sealing as she crept through the building. Tenten soon came to the center of the shack as she unsealed a bomb. All right, place this baby right here, Tenten said as she set the bomb at the center of the room. Tenten smiled as she quickly got out undetected. That's number 1 Neji, Tenten said to him. Neji looked at her and sighed. Did you really have to seal those at that time? He asked her. Tenten smiled. No, but I felt that I should and I did, Tenten said with a smile. Neji shook his head as they two went to another corner of the village. Tenten set a bomb in another shack and the two left. They went to the third and placed the bomb at the center. Soon both made it to the fourth corner and the last shack. All right, this is the last one, then we do the signal, Neji said to her. Tenten nodded as she went inside. Tenten smiled as she crept through the shack with her stealth. I guess all my steel training paid off, Tenten thought. As Tenten neared the center, she failed to see a wire over the shack as her foot tipped the wire. Tenten gasped as she felt the wire hit her toe. Tenten soon dodged a kunai that was aimed at her jugular. Tenten cursed as she maneuvered away from the person throwing them. Soon the lights on the shack flickered on as Tenten saw that she was going against two people, but she suddenly gasped. No, not them, Tenten said as the two people gasped. Tenten, the figure said to her. Tenten stiffened as she looked at the man. Guy-sensei, Tenten said to him. Soon Guy and Asuma came into view. Tenten, what are you doing here? Asuma asked her. Tenten looked down as the two saw her headband. Tenten, are you? Yes, Guy-sensei, I am an Iwa shinobi and I am here to destroy Konoha, Tenten said to them. Guy and Asuma narrowed their eyes. Tenten, back away now, we don't want to fight you, but we have our orders, Asuma said to her. Tenten turned to him. Sorry Asuma, but I can't do that. I will do my job seriously like Guy-sensei taught me, Tenten said as she took off the scroll on her back. Guy and Asuma gasped as Tenten unsheathed a sword and took a stance. Tenten looked at them with a determined gaze as Asuma took out his knuckles, but Guy was still in shock. Where's Neji? He asked her seriously. Tenten sighed as she waved her hand. Soon Neji appeared and looked to see Guy and Asuma. Hello Guy-sensei, Neji said to him. Guy gasped as he looked to see two of his former students. Why are you both here? He asked them. We will destroy Konoha. It is our mission and we will not fail, they both said to him. Guy and Asuma narrowed their eyes. I can't let you do that. You are both my precious students, but I must serve my village, even if I must hurt you, Guy said as he assumed his taijutsu stance. Neji sighed heavily and slipped into his Jiyuken stance. Tenten got back into her sword stance as they faced their former sensei's friends. We don't want to fight you, but we will if we must and we will destroy Konoha, they said to them. Guy and Asuma steeled their nerves for the fight. We can't let you do that. For our Rokudaime Hokage we will fight and capture you, they said to them. Everyone soothed their nerves as they all charged at their opponents. Neji and Guy separated from Tenten and Asuma as their fights began. Neji charged Guy as he tried to strike his chakra points. Guy managed to parry all of Neji's blows as they backed away from each other. I was you sensei Neji, so I know your moves, Guy said to him. Neji narrowed his eyes. That is true, but I haven't been slacking, Neji said to him as he went through some hand signs. Raiden. Kaminari Yashi no Uranai, lighting style. Divination of the Thunder Palm, Neji yelled as his palms glowed with fierce lighting. Guy gasped as he saw Neji disappear. So he has a Raiden affinity. You have grown Neji, Guy thought as Neji struck his stomach and sent him flying into a wall. Neji sighed as he cut his lighting. Come on sensei, take this seriously, Neji said to him. Guy smiled as appeared from the rubble. No need to rush Neji. You aren't going anywhere anyway, Guy said to him. Neji narrowed his eyes. There is something I want to tell you Guy-sensei, I am allowed to. I don't care right now Neji, you are an enemy and I must capture you, Guy said as he took his weights off. Neji sighed. Great, he won't listen. Might as well seal his chakra points then get him to listen, Neji thought as he saw Guy rush at him. Neji gasped as he saw Guy's fiery fight. Yuruhu Night Phoenix, Guy yelled as he shot forward. Neji cursed as he began to spin. Kaden, Neji yelled as the two collided causing an explosion in the shack. Guy was propelled back as was Neji as they backflipped in the air and landed. Will you surrender Neji? Guy asked him. Neji sighed as he shook his head. Sorry Guy-sensei, but this is more important than you or me, now if you will listen to me I can. Then I have no choice, but to make you suffer, Guy said as he shot forward. Neji cursed at Guy's lack of attention skills and shot forward. I will not lose here Guy-sensei, Neji said as he and Guy took out a kunai and clashed as they steeled their gazes at each other. And that's the end of part 2. How did you like this part? Tell me in the comments, do you think Naruto and Tsunade make a great pair? If you want part 3, then please like this video and comment, next part. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. I'll see you in the next part. Take care, bye.